I think I flustered poor Zach today.
I think you did as well. I tried to stay as silent and as out of the picture as possible.
So we were up and live on the stream, but I think it's like took a while, and thanks to the pizza dude for doing that. And just at the end, just sorry. Like no sorry, only right. You don't have to apologize. I just do it right. So we're all set.
We got there right at the buzzer, so we're good to go.
Buzzer. We've done that a few times. I think my favorite one is I'm getting ready for a live broadcast, and Tim, like the show open comes, and Tim's like, "I'm here." Like you were running like super late the one time. So
yeah, I came in right at the intro, and I think you were on location somewhere. And
yes,
that was definitely a last second. Nobody knew, but us. But
nobody
that
knew
was
it.
Chaos hour.
Yeah,
in the flesh.
Yeah, and my blood pressure was up, and I'm like, I'm gonna commit harm to Tim here. I'm afraid. Kidding.
You got through.
Got through. As we do every Wednesday, we'll talk to PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In on the BetMGM network. He's got some plays here. He'll give us his thoughts on Bills and Jets. Right now, the line is at 6.5, Buffalo against New York. Some college plays, too, as we look ahead. College schedule looks pretty good this week. We'll talk to PJ Glasser coming up. That will be at the bottom this hour. Next hour, the one, the only, our nemesis, Jay Binkley, 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City. I'm not ready to throw dirt on the Chiefs. I'm not ready to tell Jay to eat humble pie. But let's see if we get a different Binkley today. It's funny. He of all our guests, he is the one guy that draws the negative reaction. We had lots of Patriot guys over the years, but maybe it was just because we recognized it. The Chiefs have something that Buffalo really, really wants, and that's kind of some rings here. Although it is Philadelphia as the defending champs, and those two teams meet this week. We'll ask PJ about that matchup. That's coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. And a tasty treat on top of that. Coming up, KeyBank Center, September 21st, Adam Sandler. And what's cool about that, it's a Sunday, but the Bills play the previous Thursday. So we have 2 tickets away to give away today to Adam Sandler, who's coming to Buffalo on the 21st. So be listening for your chance to win that. You are welcome to write us on X, our handle, The Fan Rochester. You can call us. That's probably the best path. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Yeah, we're in the YouTubes. We are on Twitch. You can do Facebook. I mean, find us anywhere, and we're pretty accessible. Tim, before we get to the sports news of the day, I came in. I don't know if you noticed this or not.
I did.
Okay. There's a story behind this. Do you know the story?
No, not a clue.
Okay, I'm going to tell you and everybody else because I don't know the outcome of this story. So here in Radio City, it's really busy in the mornings, but then middays it kind of clears out. And salespeople, and then afternoons, I'm here all day, basically, unless I'm going out to meet an advertiser, a client. Well, I'm in the office today, was not aware that all this was going on. So came downstairs, getting ready for the show. Our show, by the way, first floor are all the studios. Second floor are like the sales cubes and the offices. Danger gets an office. I get a cube.
Fancy.
Yeah, Danger gets a fancy office, but by me having a cube, they're saying, hey, go out and meet people, right? So I come downstairs, and the aforementioned Zach, who was producing for Dan DeLorean today, filling in for him, there's one of these electronic bikes, an e-bike. And I'm like, oh, Zach, this is yours, buddy. And like, it's right outside our studio in the conference room across the hall. He's like, no, did you hear? I'm like, no, I didn't hear. Apparently, Billy Kid from the B, right, was here, and he, the show ends at 10. He'll work till like noon or 1. You got to get ready for the next day and do other various things. He's leaving for his day that ends somewhere around noon or 1 o'clock, and he goes out and he witnesses somebody getting hit on this bike. So to this person, and I got to be, I don't know anything about this person. I hope everything's okay, but the ambulance came. What do you do with the bike?
That's part of evidence, I would assume.
Right. Or you can't leave it on the street. Because let's face it, I love this town. I love this city. It's not exactly like the safest.
That's not making it through the day.
No, it's not making it. That bike would be like, ooh, look at that. Yeah, it's not a rideshare thing. So Billy brings in the bike, and the bike looks to be in okay shape. So I hope this individual, so as far as a conclusion to the story, I don't know. If anybody knows, I hope this person's okay.
Jeez.
But when I was down in New York, I'm wondering, are we going to see more of this? There was a public service announcement that was running on their station last year around holiday time, when it came to these electronic bikes, because, hey, you can go faster, and people sometimes drive stupid, and by going faster, it's harder to stop, and you get in more accidents. And you go down to Manhattan now, a lot of these are being ridden around. Are we going to get to a point where, okay, more and more of these accidents are going to
There
happen?
will be some incidents, I'm sure, but I was actually in New York City a couple years ago for a bachelor party, and I saw a pedestrian just get absolutely obliterated by a bicyclist, but the pedestrian was the one walking out of turn. That was crazy.
Yeah, you have to, they have designated bike lanes, and they've tried to do this here in Rochester. By the way, I'm fine with that in Rochester. More people are riding bikes, better for the environment, better, moving around. Don't pay for parking, all that stuff. But I have no idea the circumstance of what happened today. So I'm hearing this secondhand from our producer, Zach. So I don't know if, hopefully whoever this is.
Hopefully they're all right and they can come get their stuff.
Come get their stuff.
Jeez. That's a fancy looking, that's not just a regular bicycle either. That's a fancy bike.
No, but now I'm thinking hey, if you are going to come by, hey, that's my bike. No,
right.
Nope. We I'll call Billy and be like, okay, are you the guy? So don't, or lady. So we'll verify that if you decide to come down to Radio City here, the High Falls Studios. Trey White back at practice today. He's been out since August 21st. Hard to discern the level of readiness. What they allow the media this time of year, Tim, is not a lot. Just kind of here, we're going to shoot some of the warm-ups, and there's Trey White running warm-ups. So they're not allowed to watch practice as we would during training camp, where you're seeing everything. You're installing plays, strategic things. They don't want things like that to get out. Who's playing with the first or the second string? No, they don't want that getting out. From the injury report today, though, this could be a little concerning. Taron Johnson has some sort of quad injury. So McDermott calling it a flare-up. For a secondary that was coming off a piss-poor performance against. And if you hear any of the cuts from McDermott today, we'll get to some of this in a little bit. Sean McDermott does not sound happy whatsoever because, yes, you won the game. Yes, Josh Allen bailed you out. Yes, Ed Oliver made a fantastic play. Yes, Matt Prater came in and did his thing. You did all you need to do in the final 4 minutes. The rest of the game for this defense was extraordinarily crappy. No way around it. And good that McDermott didn't give it's this league and it's tough to win games. He didn't give any of that. So it's a different tone going into the Jets game. Now, are the Jets anywhere at the level of the Ravens? Of course not. But they have a mobile quarterback. They have a really good running back in Breece Hall, a guy that, if he was playing on any other team, we'd be talking about him a lot more. And Garrett Wilson, he's really good too. So they do have pieces on that side. And for this Bills defense, can they fix everything in 1 week? Hearing Joe Marino talk about Taylor Rapp this morning. Rapp really wasn't good. He was really bad. And we all focused on Bishop. They have a problem right now at safety in Buffalo.
There's a lot of things that you can be happy with coming out of that game because of the conclusion of it, but there's also a lot of things that you have to. The Jets kind of blew it against Pittsburgh. Well, they absolutely blew it against Pittsburgh, but that's kind of the opponent you want coming out of Baltimore, is a team that you know that you're better than. But those pieces that you just mentioned, there's more. And the Bills hopefully are able to button up what their flaws were on Sunday and recover and rebound and actually make a statement this coming week against a division rival.
This is a game that the Bills should win. And if they do, Tim, have you ever felt more confident as a Bills fan? I would ask anybody. Well, it's a week-to-week league, energy, blah, blah, blah. No. If they win this game, and we recognize it's on the road and things have happened with the Meadowlands over the years, they're 5-0. The Bills are not losing to Miami, a team that was as poorly coached and outplayed, and wow, that coach doesn't look like he's going to make it to October at this point. They're not losing to Miami week 3. They're not losing to Spencer Rattler, ooh, or Tyler Shuck, or whatever the hell the Saints put out there in week 4. And then the Patriots coming in week 5, what will New England be at that point? Again, Sunday Night Football, hard for me to see after everything that kind of sort of happened. This is the first time that Diggs is coming back to Buffalo, and you better believe that everybody's going to be playing up that storyline. I don't think the Bills look past the Patriots. There's no reason to think that the Bills, going into that game in Atlanta on Columbus Day weekend on Monday Night Football, Bills will be 5-0. I feel that confident, Tim. 5-0 is right there, but this is the one. If you want to be the 1 seed, these are the little traps that the Bills have fallen into over the years. A game in Jacksonville, or count how many other games. Maybe you could say the game in Houston last year, although Houston is always a playoff team. The Bills always seem to have these sort of slip-ups. The Bills are the better team against the Jets, and here I'm going to give you a reason why. If old, immobile Aaron Rodgers can throw for 4 touchdowns against the Jets, if the Steelers can move the ball against the Jets, I feel pretty good that Josh Allen and company will do the job. Yes, you have Sauce Gardner back there, but he can only cover one guy, Tim. So and we'll talk to Dan Leberfeld later in the week, but this Jets defense seems like it's a work in progress right now with Aaron Glenn taking over.
Yeah, 100%. The Bills have an offense that is going to give any team in the NFL fits, especially a team that struggles against division opponents. And again, the Bills offense, no questions about it, one of the best in the league. They've got the MVP. They've got the best player in football. It's the defense that we have to think about. That said, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but all the way through October, I mean, maybe Jay Binkley will have some thoughts on it, but I think we're looking at possibly 7-0 through October in that meeting with the Chiefs, and that might be another. Each week, obviously, you wonder, there's going to be a dud somewhere, there's going to be a slip-up somewhere along the lines. You're not going to go 17-0. But looking at the schedule, the first half of it is really, really favoring the Bills, and they can set the tone right out of the gate going 2-0 while possibly the whole division begins 0-2.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even concerned about the division.
Oh, no.
I don't care. Like, honestly, we're bringing Binkley on today. Like, okay, Bills are up 1-0 on the Chiefs. Ravens, we should have our own sports bar standings. 1 seed. That's it. Like, put up the graphic right now in terms of playoff picture.
In the hunt.
Yeah, no, the Bills are not in the hunt. I could say that. You can write to us on X. A little more difficult for me to do this with danger of being out, but I did sneak a peek at this one. This is from Chris in South Central Kentucky. Did you say that Taron Johnson's listed on the injury report? Not a problem. According to Wampum, he's just a guy. People don't forget, Tim. That's how we called you terrible take, Tim.
I still stand by that, honestly.
No, you get out.
I can't change my mind on it.
See, that's stupid.
I can be wrong, but I'm not wrong in this regard, I don't think.
No.
There are so many other players on this defense. That's all I was trying to say, by the way. There are a lot of other guys, including Ed Oliver, which I mentioned back then. There's a lot of guys that I would prefer if I need a guy to make a play. Like, Johnson's a good player, but there's other guys that I prefer. That's all. That's all I meant.
You're probably too young to remember the McLaughlin Report. It was this political show, and what if those... Wrong. You said, and roll the tape, he's an average player. He's not an average player. You were not making any context thing, Tim. Wrong. You're wrong.
I mean, I guess we'll just always disagree on that point. But
you could go to the okay. Well, the Bills gave up 40 points with Taron Johnson. They, what are they going to give up without him? they'll be fine. If Taron Johnson misses a week against the Jets, I don't get any indication that Jordan Hancock's back anytime soon. So what do you do in that regard? We'll see who, Cam Lewis could slide over perhaps and play that big nickel. You don't have the guy Saran Neal anymore. He was always kind of the backup when he came to that big nickel. So Bills kind of concluding their practice just a little bit ago. Josh Allen talking to the media. 16th time in his career, the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. If you had to say when it's all said and done in his career, how many times does he win that award? Are we past the halfway point of Josh Allen winning the AFC Player of the Week award in his career?
I think that might be the exact number. Like if you were to set the over-under at 32, I might take the under on it barely. Like I'm going to say 30-ish times. So,
yeah, I would say how many more times does he win it this year? I'm going to say like once a month. That's the expectation, right?
That's the cool thing about having a superstar quarterback. Yeah. It's a nice thing to have, and I wish that more teams were able to enjoy that.
So if he wins it 3 more times, that puts you at
19.
Plays 5 more years and wins it twice more. That's 10, 29. Somewhere those years you get 3 times a year. I think right now we're at the over/under. Like at the halfway point, like 32 would be.
I think that's the perfect number for the over/under. Right around that number is probably what it ends up around.
I'm going to have to play this in the year 2025, and then when we look back here in the year 2032, Tim, in 2032.
And I'll still be thinking about your draft day reaction, so that's never going away either.
That has been held as ransom. It's really bad. It's really bad. Me smashing my glasses, and
it will never leave my mind's eye. I think about it more than I would like to admit. There's Josh Allen.
It's the example of we go through the whole draft process, and the narrative is shaped by a lot of people. I hate to say that, but we really don't know anything. Even the people that draft, they don't know. That's why you have so many misfires in the first round of the NFL draft. But yeah, look. And there's a video out there. You find it. We were doing something for a beer company. That's pretty bad too. Where we're doing this little skit around High Falls here.
Megaphone.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, me shouting at people down the street, "Don't draft Josh Allen." Yeah. How did that work out?
Perfectly.
Yeah. We've got that. We've got the Jets today releasing Gibson, the returner. Okay, so that Jets-Steelers game, I got to be honest. I was out, so was watching a bunch of games at once. Was at the tap room at Bill Gray's in Webster with Billy Kidd. And with that, I saw the Jets go ahead, and then I'm like, wait a second, now they're behind. Turns out there was a really costly fumble on a kick return. And if you're Aaron Glenn, sorry, you don't get a second chance. Tim, are you fine with this, using somebody kind of as an example, not giving them a second chance?
I think that it's important to set the tone. I obviously would much prefer to have my job, but if you're going to come in and make a statement like that, week 1, this is how we do things. Mm-hmm. We do it correct or we don't have jobs. Good luck to you. I think if you're Aaron Glenn, especially in the New York media, you have to set the tone early, and it might bite you later, but you've got to be the one in charge from the get-go.
I think self-awareness is an important point, too, and somebody we lean on here on our show, because I think he's great. He's on evenings on WFAN. We've had him on the show before, Keith McPherson, the KM to AM show. He pointed out that, wait a second, it's not a good look if Gibson after the game is, they're walking, and granted, you're seeing people you haven't seen in a while, but just smiling and laughing. And you had the play that really gave the Steelers the victory. I don't need you to be throwing things or so angry that throwing a tantrum, but I think a little self-awareness in that regard, that you should feel guilt for this. You had one job and you didn't do it.
Yeah, I am an ultra competitive person for a lot of things that in the grand scheme don't really matter. If I am the reason
Rochester Brewers softball,
yeah.
Top of the list,
yes, sir.
Okay, yeah,
If I am the reason, if I let the people that need me down, and that just for any regard in life. If I let somebody down, that weighs on me. And if I let 53 of my teammates down and I'm the reason, the focal point for a game that falls out of our grasp, I am not smiling or laughing with anybody. I want to be left alone, and I need to figure out how I'm going to be better.
The Bills just released their Wednesday injury report. So not practicing today, as we mentioned, Taron Johnson, Shaq Thompson, the reserve linebacker, also not practicing. And limited today, officially, Tre'Davious White. Also limited, Greg Rousseau has a knee issue. Dawson Knox a hip, limited. James Cook a hamstring, limited. Braden Codrington, a knee, limited. So all that sounds like a lot of injury fog.
It's just Wednesday. Yeah, they'll be fine come Sunday. If today was Sunday, they're all ready to go.
All the guys that are limited.
Right.
Yeah, I would figure that to be the case. We'll talk to PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In on the BetMGM network. Bills giving 6.5. What's PJ's play for this game? We'll also start to look ahead to week number 2 of the. Well, no, it's not 2. It's 3 now. See, that's always throws me off. You have week 0, week 1, week 2. We're week 3 of college football, and this week slate much better than last week. So we'll get to, including LSU in Florida. What happened to Florida? Good grief. PJ coming up next. My name is Gene Battaglia. In for Danger today. It's Tim Schneider here on The Fan, Rochester. For the 16th time in his career, Josh Allen named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. This for his efforts in the win over Baltimore. From today's practice, Tre'Davious White is back for the first time since August 21st. Although head coach Sean McDermott not making any promises.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, we have a lot of confidence in Trey, and Dorian's a young player that did some good things the other day. So I think the best thing we could do right now in terms of our approach is see how Trey is today and take it one day at a time. But we have a lot of confidence in Trey.
Bills favored by 6.5. How do you play it? That's one of the questions we will talk to our betting expert, PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In on the BetMGM Network. He joins us next. Rochester Red Wings tonight take on their alternate identity of the Coca Locos. The Coca Locos hosting Buffalo, Yankees hosting the Tigers. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, the Fan, Rochester. You know, one of the things that was keeping me up, welcome back here to the Sports Bar. Gene Battaglin with you. Danger is out until Friday, and joining us today will be Tim Schneider. I always appreciate Tim coming in. One of the things that was keeping me up, you think about all the things that happened on Sunday night, and then you think about, well, your friends that might be a Ravens fan. Joining us here on the phone, PJ Glasser, your host of Send It In. And PJ, the Ravens they've had losses like this, but I don't know to this extent. PJ, what are your thoughts about what you saw from Baltimore? Because yes, that was a fantastic comeback by Buffalo, but it doesn't happen if the Ravens don't do A, B, and C, and D, and everything else that let Buffalo back in that game.
Gene, my thoughts are that I wrote a letter to Roger Goodell to see if we could change the NFL game from 4 quarters to 3 quarters. Because if we can do that, then I think the Ravens can win the Super Bowl. We're on to something. But, no, look, it was a great game. That's kind of what's plagued them, in the Harbaugh era, is a lot of these double-digit leads that they've lost in the second half and the fourth quarter. That whole game was kind of the microcosm of the Ravens for the last 3 years. Like, you see the flashes, right? And you see the spurts where they just look unstoppable. And in like the early second quarter, mid-third quarter, it felt like everybody was crowning them Super Bowl champions. People were asking how you stop this team. And then you kind of see the wheels fall off the bus at the end of the game. And Gene, I come on here every week with you and Danger, and I've talked about how I think they should move on from John Harbaugh, and that game just reiterates kind of everything I thought going into the season. I'm sure now that, Bills fans have gotten a chance to watch another Ravens game, you can just see, you can feel how tight that they get at the end of these games and how the play calling, it just doesn't quite feel the same in the last couple drives of the fourth quarter that it does in the middle of the second and the early third. So, the Chiefs never lose a game like that. The Eagles would never lose a game like that. The Bills would never lose a game like that. And not only do the Ravens lose a game like that, Gene, they lose them at least once a year. So,
no, the Bills have lost. What's weird about that, PJ? It's like, oh my gosh, the Bills won one like this. Like how many times? Whereas the Vikings a few years ago, 13 seconds, the Bills lose games like that all the time. It's like, wow, Buffalo has a new identity here thanks to the Baltimore Ravens. The thing that you can't do anything about the Henry fumble, right? It's just it's a great play. It's Henry sure wishes he would have wrapped up a little bit better. But you mentioned the play calling at the end. Like Todd Monken, what is the vibe down there? What is the chatter? Because granted, Lamar Jackson apparently cramping up, but just spread it out there a little bit. Let your guys do their thing. And you have it on fourth down. When the Ravens punted at the end, PJ, the whole stadium knew the Bills were going to win that game.
Whole stadium knew it, 100%. Everybody wants to talk about the Henry fumble, and obviously, you can't control that, and he rarely ever fumbles. So it's like one of those things that you just don't expect to happen. It won't happen a lot of the time. But, Gene, my biggest issue, there was 23 seconds left on the play clock when they hiked it. And they do that all the time. And in a game like that, man, I mean, every second counts, right? It's a game of inches. I mean, you think about that play. You think about the play with the punt, right, when it could have been down at the half-yard line, and instead Trenton Simpson's finger is on the white, and it's a touchback. So it's the littlest of things, and then it's the play calling, like you said. I mean, I told you guys throughout the summer, my biggest issue with the playoff loss to Buffalo last year was that Lamar had 0 design runs against the Bills. I don't know, Gene. Lamar running on Sunday looked like a pretty big factor to me, right? And before the Henry fumble, Lamar scrambled for 13 yards on the zone read. And I don't understand why, like in the last 3 minutes of the game, they just don't run zone read 3 straight times. You either give it to Derek or you give it to Lamar, and you make the defender choose which way he's going to go. And you just, you put him in a dilemma and you live with the results. But, it happens way too often. And I think it's totally stuck in their heads. And I really feel it's a Harbaugh thing, because you just watch him on the sideline and he has this like deer in headlights look, Gene, that he just knows it's coming. He knows things are about to go sideways. And, but yeah, again, it's the little things, man. Like you can't snap the ball with 23 seconds left on the play clock. And they do things like that all the time. It's why they lose these games.
Even I go back to the loop field goal at the end of the first half, PJ. Like they left time up on the clock on that. Like It's like if you just took a few more seconds off, the Bills aren't getting that last second field goal. PJ, I don't want to like stress you out. We always appreciate you giving us winners. And as we start with the college slate here, okay, this is better here. Week 3, yes, much better. Clemson, a team that's so far 0-2 against the spread, and here they are giving up 3.5 at Georgia Tech. That's the line I'm looking at here, PJ. Is this the week that Clemson's like, okay, people thought we were going to be a national contender, we're going to flex our muscles here?
I think it is, Gene. I think it is, and a lot of it has to do with the matchup. Georgia Tech is a really difficult team to prepare for, but the way that they hang around and the way that they beat good teams, they took Georgia to 7 overtimes last year, 8 overtimes last year. Georgia had a really big issue of stopping the quarterback run. And if you watch Georgia Tech play, their quarterback, Haynes King, is what makes them go. And he actually is hurt, Gene. He's probably going to play because it's Clemson, but he's certainly not going to be 100%. And that Clemson defense, especially their D-line, that front four, is really good. And they are really tough to run on. So I just think it's a bad matchup for Georgia Tech. And look, yeah, I'm not a Cade Klubnik guy. All these people betting him to win the Heisman and betting him to win Clemson to win the national championship. I couldn't go that far because of Klubnik. But I think they're going to win. They're going to cover the game on Saturday. I think the overreaction to Clemson, the game against Troy, Gene, I think was just a total letdown. You play that massive season opener against LSU, prime time, under the lights, the energy in that building, and then you turn around and it's like you got a 3:30 kick against Troy, you're 30-point favorites. They come out of the gate. So I think they bounce back. ACC play starts Saturday against a team who they're likely competing with to try and get to Charlotte for an ACC title. I think they take care of business.
Yeah, PJ, it's so early on. If just having a casual conversation about SEC football. Hey, is Tennessee any good? I'd answer. I have no idea. Like they beat Syracuse, you don't get a cookie for that. They scored 72 against East Tennessee State. You don't get a cookie for that either. And now the weight class here. Oh, here we go, Georgia. So, can Tennessee keep this close in your opinion coming up here on Saturday?
You know what's funny, Gene? The Clemson and Georgia games, I think, are extremely similar, where I think you're getting really good buy low opportunities on both Clemson and both Georgia. It's so funny right now, the perception around Georgia. Everybody's not thinking they're any good. They've been disappointed with what they've seen in the first 2 weeks. Gene, they played Marshall in week 1, a team they were favored 38.5. Kirby Smart is 1-14 against the spread in his last 15 games when he's been favored by 38 or more against FBS teams. And then in week 2, they played an FCS school, Austin Peay. Kirby Smart is 0-10 against the spread against the last 10 FCS schools that he's played. So all Georgia did in the first 2 weeks was all they've ever done under Kirby Smart, and not cover a spread against teams that they should demolish. And now they go up against Tennessee, a team that they always play well against. Kirby's beaten them 8 straight times. He's covered 6 of those games, 8 of the last 9. and he's won 8 straight SEC road openers. So the Georgia team you have seen the last couple weeks is not going to be the one that you've seen on Saturday. And, Gene, I feel like every time we do this, when there's a nice buy low opportunity on Georgia and people don't think they're any good, they kind of remind us all like, oh yeah, they're still Georgia.
Yeah.
So I like the Bulldogs. I would lay it with them on Saturday.
PJ, this might be my favorite stat so far this college football season. Talking about South Florida football. So South Florida, you forget like week 1 it was a Thursday night or Friday, Thursday night, and hey, they beat Boise. Well, Boise was ranked. They were 25th. And last week, whoa, they go into Florida, the big shocking upset, and the Gators were ranked. PJ, you know this stat. The idea that South Florida can beat ranked opponents weeks 1, 2, and 3 to start the season. The last time that happened in college football, the year's 1987, and it was the Miami Hurricanes who did that. And oh, by the way, the Hurricanes the opponent this week. So with all that being said, do the 2025 Hurricanes defend the honor of the 1987 Miami Hurricanes?
I think the 87 Hurricanes are going to be okay, Gene, and I don't think USF is even going to cover the spread on Saturday. And the handicap is what you were talking about, okay? So put yourself in the mind of South Florida. Week 1, you get Boise State, the team that made it to the playoff, the team that was the Group of 5 champions. The game is at home in Tampa, and it's pretty much a standalone game. I mean, it was Thursday. That was certainly the marquee game of the slate, and they beat Boise by 30 points. Awesome victory. Okay, you win that one. Next week, turn the page. You're going into the Swamp. You're playing Florida in their house. Now you get that upset. Gene, this team is taking pictures on the field after the game. There are videos of the coaches in the press box going nuts, yelling, running down to the locker room. I mean, these last 2 weeks, I think, have taken so much out of South Florida. I just don't know if they have anything left in the tank. Miami beat them last year 50-15, so they kind of know what they're going up against. And, watching Notre Dame and their rushing attack struggle against Miami, and that's kind of how USF wants to move the ball is with their quarterback and the quarterback run and Byron Brown. I just think it's a tough matchup, and it's a tough spot for USF. So I do like the Canes.
Yeah, Notre Dame, you're leading me into the next question here. So last time we saw the Irish was that game against Miami. It was a great game, right, PJ? Like as a fan we're watching. And, well, who did their schedule? They had a bye. It's like, okay. So now 2 weeks to prepare for Texas A&M team, and they're ranked. But, again, who have they played? No one. So your thoughts here, because to me it would look obvious that Notre Dame lay the points here, the 6.5, but am I being a square, PJ, with that logic?
Does feel a little too easy, Gene, doesn't it, with the 6.5? I think if you're going to take Notre Dame, I'd probably just take them on the money line. I think that's the way to go. My play in this game would be the over, though. I like the total and going over 49. I think C.J. Carr, Notre Dame's quarterback, is going to be a really good player. Keep in mind, he's a true freshman. His first start was on the road, prime time, at Miami. Struggled in the first half. It was almost like watching J.J. McCarthy a little bit, Gene, and what he did on Monday, where it was sluggish first half. You're like, oh, boy, this could be a long year. And then, man, second half, fourth quarter, he just totally flips the script and looked great. And now he's got some momentum. They're coming off a bye week. And A&M, they've struggled the first couple weeks against the run. They're 80th against the run. I think they're like 100th in like EPA per rush attempt. So they haven't been great against the run. Now you got to go up against Jeremiah Love and C.J. Carr, who's got all this confidence. And I think A&M is going to be able to put up some points offensively as well. So 2 great defensive coaches, 2 good defenses, big-time matchup. You'd think under. But I actually think, Gene, this could be a game where we get some points. So I'm going to go over 49.
And to circle back here, LSU, now everybody's thinking, all right, is this going to be Brian Kelly? Are they a team that's going to position themselves nicely for the playoff? Is this a spot, though, where they're facing a Florida team that, lost the game that many thought they shouldn't have? I don't know what direction to go here, PJ. Help us out here.
Gene, generally when you get games like this and you get a team in Florida who lost a look-ahead spot, right, and they lost it outright, you normally want to back that team the following week. And Florida has an absolute gauntlet coming up. They still have to play Texas, and Georgia and Tennessee and Florida State. I mean, they got to play a lot of great teams still upcoming this season. So it's going to be brutal, and they got to try and win one of these games that on paper it doesn't look like they're going to. Certainly this would qualify. I would expect a great effort out of the Gators. They still have a terrific defense and a very talented quarterback in DJ Lagway. So I don't know if it's going to be an official play for me. I would certainly lean Florida, though. In these kind of spots, it would definitely either be Gators or pass for me.
PJ Glasser, host of Send It In, which you can hear weekdays 1 o'clock on the BetMGM network. PJ, let's hit you up with some pro talk here. And we talked about the Ravens. And okay, PJ, I know you might disagree with me on this. I'm taking the Ravens as the survive and advance pick this week. And here's why. Number one, there's not a lot of other options out there. Like, okay, if everybody was healthy on the 49ers, maybe going on the road into New Orleans isn't such a bad play. Maybe you're looking at the Rams going into Tennessee. I just don't see history repeating itself with Baltimore. They fell in their home opener last year to the Raiders, and I heard you say, oh, like that. The thing that's curious about this game here is lines bounced around. I saw it like at 12.5, then it was down to 10.5. Now I'm looking in one spot today at 11.5. To me, I would think it would fit in this window, PJ. The Ravens win the game, but they don't cover. How do you see this game playing out?
You're probably right, Gene, that they win the game and they don't cover. I definitely like the Browns plus the points. I mean, you mentioned the Ravens lost their home opener to the Raiders last year. Gene, it's the same spot. It's deja vu all over again. For people, if they remember, last year, open up the season week 1 on the road at Kansas City in prime time, the team that knocked you out of the playoffs last year, you lose in heartbreaking fashion with Likely's toe out of bounds. And now here you are again, opening up the season on the road against a team that beats you in the playoffs, and you lose an even more devastating game. And now you're playing a divisional team, unlike the Raiders. And not only are they playing a divisional team, Gene, but they're playing a divisional team in Cleveland that always plays them tough in Baltimore. The last 3 times these teams have met, the games have been decided by 6 points or less if you exclude the game last year in Week 18 when, like, the Browns C team was out there. So the last 3 games where, like, the starters have been out there for the Browns and they've played in Baltimore, the games have been decided by 6 points or less. And, Gene, just as a Ravens fan, I can tell you the 1 p.m. Eastern time divisional games for Baltimore, they just don't play well. Burrow's only beaten the Ravens 1 time. It was at a 1 p.m. Eastern time game. The last 2 1 p.m. Eastern time games, the Browns have played the Ravens. They've won those games. The Steelers, I think, have won the last 2 or 3 against them. So they're great in primetime divisional games or like 4 o'clock divisional games. But that early start, there's just something about it that they just do not play well. So I definitely like the Browns plus the points. It feels like the Ravens should be a good survivor option. I kind of think I might take Green Bay, though, tomorrow at home, if I'm being honest with you. Short week, Packers at home. I know it's scary fading Jaden Daniels, but, I mean, we know what an advantage it is for a team to play at home on a short week. And I just want to use Green Bay now because of how good they looked against Detroit. I think they have so much momentum, so much confidence. Vibes are good with the Parsons trade. And I kind of think I might go Green Bay tomorrow, Gene. And, obviously as a Ravens fan, hoping they win. But it would not shock me if the Browns beat them because they got upset in the same spot last year.
Yeah, I love that, PJ, because you get the sweat out of the way. When you take the Thursday night game and you win, it's just, okay, it just brings a different element on Sunday. PJ Glasser, your host of Send It. We like the sweat, by the way. That's why we play Survivor football. I'll leave the Bills-Jets for last here. We don't even compare the Bills to the rest of the AFC East here. It's like whatever at this point. Patriots-Dolphins. We would normally be having, what's better for Buffalo? It's like, who cares? But I look at Miami. They were horrible last week. But if they don't get this game against the Patriots, PJ, then they come up to Buffalo on the short week the following week. So this is a spot where I think Miami has to win. Does McDaniel get these guys going? They're getting, or they're giving 1 point at home to New England.
They're favored. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, how many people are going to look at that line, see that Miami's favored against the off-season darling in the NFL. Drake May, by the way, now 1-10 as a starting quarterback. Thank you very much. Raiders +3 last week. Dolphins are favored, Gene, and we were all over the Colts last week. Colts are my favorite play of week 1. So a lot of people like Miami. How many people, Gene, do you think who bet Miami last week, and there were a lot of them, are going to want to bet Miami again this week, favored at home?
I'm guessing not many, right?
I would tend to agree with you that not many are. But this is what we do in the NFL. We buy low, and it's not getting any lower than it is right now in Miami. Nobody wants to bet that team after what they saw. Now, the fear is that, Gene, what we saw against Indy isn't a fluke, and they're just a disaster. I mean, we already kind of think McDaniel's done, but, I mean, this is just like next level. Tua did not look great. The defense, the secondary that we were concerned about didn't look great either. But, I mean, Gene, like, look, man, when it comes to betting, you bet lines and not teams. And this line is just screaming to take Miami as a favorite against a team that everybody was high on coming into the offseason, coming off just an awful performance in week 1. It's got to be the Dolphins for me on the money line to win the game.
Yeah, like we were joking, like if the Dolphins continue on this path, if they lose badly to the Patriots and the Bills blow them out, and it's kind of a longer week on the other end, sometimes you see coaching changes, but never in week 3. The earliest I've ever seen a coach get fired that I could look up was a week 4, Lane Kiffin getting fired there, PJ, by the Raiders. So.
Oh, it's bad, Gene. It's bad. But like you said, they need this game because they're going to Buffalo next week, and that could get ugly. So I think the Dolphins are going to play well on Sunday. 3
more for you. Indy, Denver, Colts surprising, but you called that one. Now Denver is actually giving points on the road. Are you feeling frisky, Indy going back-to-back, or do they kind of revert to, okay, this is who we thought the Colts would be?
You know what's funny, Gene, is this Denver-Indy game is an interesting one because I think the takeaway from both of their week 1 performances was actually more about the other teams. Like, I was more impressed with Tennessee than I was down with Denver. I'm looking at Tennessee, and I'm like, man, Cam Ward as a rookie going on the road against that defense, I thought did some really good things. I think their defense is going to be good, very solid this season as well. And then Indianapolis, I mean – there are people that are like, wow, Steichen made the right move with Daniel Jones. Maybe they're going to be decent this season. Gee, I really just think that game was about Miami. Like, I think going from that secondary and that defense to now Denver's defense is going to be a whole different animal. And the thing that was lost in that game was how well Miami was running the football. But, I mean, they were down 17-0 in the second quarter that obviously you're not going to run the ball as much as you want to. Denver behind one of the best offensive lines. And you know, good running backs in Dobbins and Harvey. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. And I think the Daniel Jones that you saw on Sunday is not going to be the same one that you see against this Broncos defense. So I do like the Broncos -2.5. I think that's a good price on them.
Philadelphia favored against Kansas City. I'd have to look up when was the last time the Chiefs were underdogs at home, PJ. What is the world coming to? The Bills were underdogs against the Ravens. That I understood a little bit, but there's some concern here in Kansas City, I would say. I don't know. Is there any play whatsoever in this game? Eagles giving 1.
Don't know if I'll play the game, Gene, but 2 things that make me lean towards Philadelphia is the idea of people betting the Chiefs are probably telling themselves, there's no way the Chiefs go 0-2, right? I mean, there's no way that happens. So that kind of leans me towards the Eagles, is that line of thinking. And also, look, I mean, watching the Eagles-Cowboys game, like, clearly the weakness of the Eagles is their secondary, the corner outside of Quinyon Mitchell. Like, you just attack that guy, and you're probably going to be pretty successful. Well, with Rashee Rice still being suspended and Worthy still being hurt and Kelsey, you know, not really doing much, it's like, I mean, what options does Mahomes have out there that can really exploit that Philadelphia secondary? So, and Jalen Carter, you would hope, wouldn't spit on anybody to start the game, and he's going to be out there for all 4 quarters. So I lean Philly in the game. I don't know if I'm going to bet it. But, you know, Gene, I think most people betting the Chiefs are just going to be behind the idea of, oh, surely the Chiefs can't be 0-2. Well, maybe they can. We'll see.
Yeah. PJ, 6.5, Buffalo against the Jets. And the way I look at this game, and you can call me Homie the Homer here, If Aaron Rodgers can do that against the Jets defense, I think that Josh Allen and the Bills will be able to move the football just a little bit against the Jets. Sean McDermott very, very pointed about his team's performance today. Didn't seem too happy. We're kind of in edgy kind of mood here today. PJ, you're feeling good enough to lay 6.5 with the Bills this week?
Don't think I'm touching the spread, Gene. I like the over in the game, though, because like you said, I mean, watching what Rodgers did against that defense, like what do you think Josh Allen is going to do? And then on the flip side, I mean, watching what the Ravens rushing attack was able to do against Buffalo, and now enters another mobile quarterback in Justin Fields and Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. So I think the Jets are going to be able to move the ball on the ground. Maybe not to the extent that the Ravens did, but certainly put up some points. And then on the flip side, I think Josh and the Bills are going to be able to do the same. So I think if you get a 7, maybe I'd be interested in taking the Jets plus the points. As you know, those games at MetLife tend to be pretty close, and the Jets tend to play them pretty well. So I think if I got the 7, I might be interested in the Jets plus the points. But I think over 46, that to me feels like a 27-21, 30-23 kind of game. So I like the over.
So, PJ, we kept you way too long today, running out of time here for baseball, but I just wanted to get your quick take on this because the Jays clinging to the AL East lead, and Bo Bichette goes on the injured list, and so they have to go down to AAA Buffalo. Did you see who they called up?
I did, Gene. Joey Lopafito got the call up today. How about that? Gene, can you imagine when the starting lineup is Guerrero, Bo Bichette, and Lopafito? I can't wait.
PJ, you are a good sport. We appreciate you. Send it in. Check out PJ's show. Give PJ a follow. PJ Glasser, the Glass Man. PJ, appreciate you.
Love you, Gene. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, bud. Love that guy. And yes. Oh, I feel like I have to give this disclaimer. Well, you guys are ripping off the bit there from, yeah, absolutely. We give the credit 100% to Scott Van Pelt. Absolutely. And that happened totally organically when PJ one day was talking about the Women's World Cup about Megan Rapinoe. Like, who's Megan Rapinoe?
Love it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, Tim, like, we should be the last people on earth to be talking about accents and everything, but the Baltimore accent just kind of makes me laugh. So
we've got one and we don't even notice it. That's what I've learned over my course of talking to people that aren't from here.
Yeah.
You say weird words. I'm just talking, man. Fun little fact check for you. The last time the Chiefs were home dogs.
Ooh. Okay. Patriots AFC Championship game.
I only did the regular season.
Oh, okay.
But
go ahead.
2022, Week 6, Bills.
Really? Wow. Bills are favored.
They won that game, by the way. The Bills did.
Tim, if we had a budget for a producer full time, you're hired.
Hell yeah.
You're hired. Love that. Let's send that Jay Binkley's way. Jay Binkley, 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City. And I'm sure he'll be talking about the disrespect of Kansas City. How could we be underdogs? Do not know. Oh, it's feeling like our time here, Tim.
It is an interesting feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. We'll talk more football coming up next. We got time for calls. We will also later in the show today give you an opportunity to win 2 tickets to go see Adam Sandler in Buffalo on September the 21st. This is the Sports Bar on 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. To no one's surprise, Josh Allen once again named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. That's the 16th time in his career that has happened. Tre'Davious White back at practice today for the first time since August 21st. Taron Johnson missing today's practice. He's got a quad injury. As far as the team and the defense overall, Sean McDermott says he's not going lightly on the team this week.
Our minds have to be squarely on improving as a football team this week. And when I said it needs to be hard, when you try and prepare to, in the light of being an elite performer, then that elite preparation is hard in order to get yourself where you need to go as we move forward here.
Jay Binkley, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, will join us later this hour. The Red Wings take on their alternate identity tonight. The Coca Locos hosting Buffalo. Yankees hosting the Tigers. The Mets continue their series in Philadelphia. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester. Yeah, Tim is a Guardians fan. What is the story with the A's had? You just like the A's?
I just have a lot of hats, and this is the one that I put on my head today. No, nothing special to it, though I am a huge fan of some of their young guys, Nick Kurtz being one of them.
There was a show from was it the 80s? Highway to Heaven? I don't remember the character's name, but he always wore an A's hat. I don't know the story behind it.
I am not familiar. I am not familiar with that show.
No. I'm showing my age here, Tim, today. So that was when the A's played in Philadelphia, or was it Kansas City? I don't know. They're in Sacramento today. The A's and Red Sox tied at 1 there in the second. The Red Sox are kind of 3 back. That's kind of interesting.
In the mix.
But, as Danger would say, it's football season. Who cares about baseball? And it's like, yeah, that's true. It just kind of pushes everything to the background here. You're always welcome to join us. Our phone number, 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Special thanks to PJ Glasser, who had a lot of insightful commentary on some of the lines this week. If you missed that, you can download the Odyssey app. It's absolutely free. Also, we are going to be out and about this coming Friday, a first time for us in a new venue. Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack inside of Remedy. You can get your game on the Remedy bar, catch every Buffalo game on the big screen, and fuel up with their game day menu, beer specials, and exclusive promotions every Thursday night and all day Sunday. And on all day Sunday, you can enjoy a 16-ounce Coors Light, Molson, or Miller Lite, and a personal cheese or pepperoni pizza, all for just $17. Well, we will be out there Friday. And with that, we invite you to join us as we're going to kick off our football weekend. Bills and Jets coming up. The Browns, we talked a little bit about that. And if you're not familiar with Terrible Take, Timmy, you were indoctrinated at a young age, as many young sports fans are. Your father, Cleveland fan through and through, and therefore you became a Cleveland fan through and through. So with that being said, on the pantheon of terrible Browns losses, you allow 7 yards the entire second half of the Bengals, and you still lose. And it's the Syracuse kicker who has a big part in you losing that game.
Yeah, so watching week 1, as one does, a lot of good teams find ways to win. It drives me absolutely bananas that the Steelers, who have not been good for about 20 years, are always good, if that makes sense. That they always go 500-ish or better for no reason. They're a 4-win football team on paper, typically, and they always find ways to win games. The Browns, the complete opposite. They cannot win games that are handed to them. You miss an extra point and a field goal while allowing literally less than a first down over the course of 30 football minutes. And
I'm sorry,
they lose. They lose the game by a point and leave 4 points on the board. And it happens weekly with Cleveland. It's insane.
So we do this thing every year, our NFL bold predictions, and we invite listeners, give your bold predictions, and we write them down, and we don't look at them. We'll pull them up on a cold day in February when the season's all over and have a good laugh, right? My bold prediction about the Browns, it's like a horror movie, Tim. Oh, you think this is bad? Just wait, because you'll eventually get tired of Flacco, and then you'll try the rookies out, and they'll look like rookies, and you'll be muddling around 2-3 wins. But then you'll say, you know what? It's not so bad. Look at the kid from South Carolina. Look at all these other kids that we could draft as quarterbacks. It's not so bad. And we've got the capital. Yay. That's what you'll be telling yourself. But then, because he's healthy, and because the owner's like, we have this big cap number. Why don't we give him one last shot? And Deshaun Watson will show just enough at the end of the season. If you think you're frustrated now, you will hate watch this team when they
I
get
can't
that
have that in
chip.
my life. That the fact that you spoke that possibly into the atmosphere is enough for me.
Deshaun Watson against the Bills in December. Who says no?
Please stop. You and I have watched multiple Browns games together that have left me in absolute agony. I believe it was week 17, maybe week 18.
The Pittsburgh game on Monday night. Yeah, that was
there
the
was
worst
that one.
Yeah.
There was the Baltimore return, like 107-yard missed field goal return. These are just with you and I watching together, and that's just 2 of them. There's tons of them. This happens literally weekly for me, and if we have to do it with Deshaun Watson under center, I don't know if I can do it. I just can't.
No. If they turn to Watson, Tim, you must lead the voice here of Browns fans to say, okay, we're not tuning in. I'll watch hockey. I'll watch whatever game. I'm leaving you. You're not getting the message here.
Yeah, I can't have that. The fact that it is plausible is enough for me to almost want to say and mean go Bills. Big Josh Allen guy. I wish we had him and not the mess that we have.
Yeah, I guess what would it take to get somebody after decades of? See, that's the thing. If it's part of your identity, it's different if you go to a college, right? If you're let's say you're a Penn State grad, and then oh my gosh, our defensive coordinator was this criminal, and oh my gosh, it was covered up by the school president. It's still your alma mater. And people today love Penn State football, yet there were some terrible people that were in charge of that. That's a little different, though. If you that's part of your identity. You're never going to change where you graduated from. This is different. This is a pro team. If you're not from that city, why is it so difficult then to change teams? We change jobs. People all the time leave their spouses. You change everything else in life. Why don't we change teams, Tim?
I think that's a fair question that I don't have the answer to, and that's somebody who has had the Browns didn't exist for 3 years of my childhood, and I came back to them, and they gave me no reason to, and they've given me no reason to support them, and yet here I am, gleefully a loser, basically. I sit through these games weekly, wondering why, and then I turn my head, and the Bills are doing what the Browns should be doing, and I wish that something good would happen to Cleveland sports, and hopefully it happens while I'm still around.
Yeah, the Guardians, oh, great, our all-world closer is allegedly throwing pitches away here to cash in.
You can't even have, he had a Hall of Fame caliber season a year ago, and now he's a millionaire who wants to make a couple extra $1,000. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I know. Now, that's one of those where you'd say, let's table that because you don't know, who might get to a family member or something like that. I don't know. There could be weird circumstances. I don't know the story there, but right. These guys should be educated enough that, hey, there are going to be pressures on you, and maybe that education should start, right when they get in. Don't do this. And I commend baseball for just, shutting that off right away. We have to know legitimately what it is that we are watching. And then you're not as much a Cavs fan as other, but I look at the Cavaliers as that team where, Tim, they could finish with the best record in the Eastern Conference, and guess what? No one will pick them. No one will pick them. That's the team.
It just happened.
Okay, that's very cute. You're doing this again. No one will take Cleveland seriously with that lineup.
Congratulations, you did well for 82 games. Do it for 16, and they can't do it.
They can't do it. No.
I just wish that maybe Cleveland, 2016, man, that was it for me, I think. It was cool that they won the NBA title, but that World Series in the grasp, the most unlikely home run possibly ever, and then there's a rain delay and can't have nice things.
This is I think this is, I hate to say this, like how you feel about this story coming over might be based on the generation you're in. The NBA is going to have a new rule change. Did you see this, Tim?
I did not.
Okay. So this starts, and it's just kind of a statistical thing, right? And you see this all the time, right? Hey, it's the end of the half, and there's a player. Okay, I'm going to heave it for like the full court shot. It doesn't go. Like very rarely does something like that happen. The NBA is making a new rule that for players that heave the ball like that, it will not count against their personal statistics. It will just count as a team stat. Because you have the ball, we don't want your shooting percentage to go down low based on that. Like who we got to this? LeBron? Who? Curry? Like honestly, I want to just kind of know like exactly who made this call here that we won't want to hurt any players' feelings that their shooting percentage might go down a little bit because they shot from the opposing baseline.
Yeah, this has been discussed actually like for a long time, but to actually have it changed, it's for contract purposes. If you shoot 32% instead of 35%, you're making a couple $1 million less. It's like I understand it in that regard, but that's still a stat. Like, are we going to get rid of QB kneels? Is that not minus 1 yard anymore?
Yeah, right. Like that's a great take there. And they're calling this the heave rule. So the heave rule, if you're just looking at the data here, Tim, okay, how many times does the heave work? 4% of the time. Actually, I thought it would be lower with the distance being 36 feet. Curry made 4 shots last season. Jokic made 3. So they're going to count deep threes on this too, which, okay.
Having a specific distance to have it not count against you is silly to me, but I get it, I guess, for contract purposes, but I don't get it because it still happened. Like you shot the ball, it counts against you or for you. If it goes in, it counts for you. Why would it count? No, why would it not count against you?
Yeah, exactly.
I just don't understand. That part of it.
Yeah, then it should be a team thing. If you're going to have the 3-point shot there going at the end. Gosh, the kneel down, like what? Like pitchers don't get called for the walk if it's an intentional walk. If it's an
intentional walk, they're not throwing the pitches. It doesn't hurt their pitch count, but it's still a walk. They give them the base.
Walk, yeah. So now we're just gonna like do things like that.
It's a new era, I guess.
Yeah.
This is grumpy old man at Cloud, and we're the old men, I guess. But
I guess that's why I'm like, might be a generational thing. I'm like, come on, really?
I'm with you. It doesn't make sense to me. I understand it for contractual purposes. If you're actively not shooting because you don't want a 4% chance shot to count against you, but you're also hurting your team by not shooting that ball. Now it doesn't hurt you. Maybe there's a benefit to it. I don't know.
Jay Binkley will be coming up in a little bit. Quick note: Anthony Rizzo retiring today, which I'm like, oh, he hasn't done that yet.
He was at the game yesterday.
Yeah, the Yankee game last night. Yeah,
and that was it. That was his send off, I guess.
So the Cubs are going to give him a send off apparently this Saturday, where they'll have him on the field beforehand. And I think we remember him as a Cub more than a Yankee. Certainly won the 2016 title. I think it's hilarious that like there were 2 teams that we fashion as smart for the most part, the Padres and the Red Sox. Yeah, just kind of gave up on him early on, and then he became really good, which I always knew of him being like really good. That was surprising, but that might have been Theo Epstein getting over to Chicago at that time saying, hey, like this kid in their system, I want Rizzo. And he knew it right away. Got him from San Diego, and then he pulled him over to the Cubs. So
you go get your guys, you find winners.
Yeah. Well, the Bills are winners. The Kansas City Chiefs are not. Jay Binkley, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, will join us next where the disrespect of the Chiefs. How could they be an underdog? Fellas, when it's all said and done. Like I could put words in his mouth, but let Jay riff on this. Fun day to have Jay Binkley on. Your calls as well. And Adam Sandler tickets will be coming up a little later on. My name is Gene Battaglia. Tim Schneider is in for Danger today here on The Fan, Rochester. They should just rename this the Josh Allen Award. For the 16th time in his career, he was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. This for his efforts in the win over Baltimore. Now, from today's practice, Tre'Davious White back at it. That's the first time since August the 21st. Head coach Sean McDermott not making any promises, though.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, we have a lot of confidence in Trey, and Dorian's a young player that did some good things the other day. So I think the best thing we could do right now in terms of our approach is see how Trey is today and take it one day at a time. But we have a lot of confidence in Trey.
Bills favored by 6.5 over the Jets. The Chiefs are a home underdog. Jay Binkley, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, will join us next. The Red Wings taking on their alternate identity tonight as the Coco Locos. They take on Buffalo. Red Sox and A's, they're tied at 2 right now in the third. Gene Battaglia, The Fan, Rochester. You know, I'm thinking back to last year, the opener, Ravens and Chiefs, and just sitting from where we are. By the way, welcome to the Sports Bar. Danger will be back on Friday. A terrible take, Timmy Schneider, doing a great job here today, joining us. I'm thinking back to last year's opener, Chiefs and Ravens. I'm like, oh, who do I want to win this game? And I remember thinking, oh, what am I thinking? I want the Ravens to win this game. I don't want the Chiefs to win. And looking at it from a number 1 seed, and we welcome in Jay Binkley, and I'm sure you're sitting at home Sunday night watching, which may end up being the game of the year here, all things considered. Jay, who are you pulling for in that game, Ravens and Bills?
Well, it's tough. I mean, honestly, I'm with you. It's very tough to pick a winner. And I guess you look at Buffalo's schedule and you think, if they get the number 1 seed, I think it's a little easier schedule than the Ravens going forward. So this is going to be a tough home game for them. But in the end, when the Chiefs lose Friday night, you're thinking, okay, well, out of the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens, 2 of the 3 are going to have a loss in week 1. But it's very difficult to choose a victor in that game. Kind of just sit back and enjoy the game because that was an incredible game to watch.
It was. Who did that game say more about, Jay? The fact that the Ravens did something like that again, or the Bills won a game that, quite honestly, we said this. It felt like kind of like a Kansas City win there at the end.
No, it did. Just to come back when you spot teams' points and you just consistently have to come back at the end. But good teams find a way to win. I mean, just the way it is. And, I know people are talking about, well, no team has won a Super Bowl if they gave up 40 points in their opening game, which would apply to both Buffalo and Baltimore historically, to be honest with you. But I think when you watch the game, you see enough of the Chiefs win games like that down the stretch. And Josh Allen, just that type of guy, man. He kind of wills his team to win. Harbaugh and the Ravens have a history of blowing double-digit leads, and this one's insane how they keep doing it. We've seen them in the playoffs play the Chiefs, and they don't just keep up with that consistent style of play that gets them through the regular season. And for some reason, in big games, they just don't quite have it, and it's kind of weird thinking about. But I think Buffalo and Baltimore both showed some weaknesses with their defense.
Jay, not tap dancing on any grave. It's only week 1, right? It's not saying, hey, this is the end of the Chiefs here. But that was a little different, losing to the Chargers, a division that the Chiefs have dominated. So give us kind of what the vibe has been in Kansas City going into a long weekend there without the Chiefs having played on Friday night. What's the level of concern after week 1?
Well, obviously, there's concern. It is game 1. They've dominated this division. Matter of fact, Mahomes is, 19-1 on the road in the division. Of course, this counts as a road game for the Chiefs. It was a Chargers home game, so they get the Chargers back at Arrowhead Stadium for the other part of this series. And I'll remind people, 2 years ago, the banners for the Chiefs playing on Thursday night, they were out there, they were prevalent, and they lose to the Lions 21-20. Game 1, this is the year before the Ravens game. They lose 21-20. Then 2 years ago on Christmas Day, they lost to Raiders, and oh my gosh, the record fell to 9-6. Oh man, the sky's falling. Then they go on a historic run, winning games in the postseason on the road, and they didn't look back. So you have to temper some of the pessimism a little bit because they've been here before. We've seen this before. But I'll say this, though. The Chargers did everything the Chiefs usually do. and it's find a way to win at the end of the game. And their game plan was brilliant. I mean, the Chiefs were pretty much expecting the Chargers to run the football more. Of course, they drafted Amari Hampton to bring in Najee Harris, but they didn't do it. They just came out and started chucking the football. The Chiefs weren't able to apply pressure on the quarterback, and it bit them. There's a lot of concerns about the defense. There was fourth in points against last year, second in points against 2 years ago. And then the offense just can't keep taking hits. I mean, Rasheed Rice, your number one receiver, is already suspended for 6 games. Then you lose Xavier Worthy in the third play of the game. And then all of a sudden you're down to guys like Tyquan Thornton, Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, once again, this offense has been hampered by wide receiver play. I mean, there's no other way to mask it. The Chiefs' running game doesn't look good right now. The wide receivers don't look good right now. When you lose Worthy on play 3, you didn't have Rice at all. So essentially you don't have your 1 and 2. And yeah, I know Hollywood's there, but I'm considering Worthy ahead of Hollywood Brown, to be honest with you. But at least he was there. And there was talk that maybe he wasn't, because he was hurt at the end of training camp, did miss the last preseason game. But you never know. Here's Hollywood Brown, who's missed 24 games since 2022. Yeah, 15 of those were last year, but he still missed 9 the previous couple years before that. So, it looks good on paper. And I always tell people, don't go by paper. Football's played on the field, and unfortunately the injury bug is happening to the Chiefs.
So we know Rice is going to be out here for a little bit with a suspension. What is I've read all sorts of different things here about Worthy. Oh, my gosh, that's season ending.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe it's not. Part one of the question, what is a realistic timetable here for Worthy? And two, I mean, I guess it's a nice thing for Travis Kelce to, take the bullet, so to speak, saying, hey, that was my fault running into him on that.
Yeah.
To tell him that. Do you buy that, or is that just Kelce, just trying to take the blame there?
No, it was. I mean, when you watch the play and everything, and he goes and he takes out Xavier Worthy, it was a friendly fire incident with the Chiefs, and he owned it, and that was good that he did, because it was him that kind of ran into Worthy. And as far as his injury, it's been weird. I know they're going to try a brace. He definitely probably won't play against Philadelphia this week, and doesn't look like their 4th-round pick, the only wide receiver they drafted, Jalen Royals, he won't play in this game either. He didn't play it all year. Didn't play in the first game. Doesn't look like he's going to play against the Eagles as well. So they're going to be down 3 receivers that they had up in training camp in this game 2 against the Eagles. But, they're not putting him on short-term IR. I mean, if they're really afraid of it, they might have just thrown him on there, missed the mandatory 4 games, and bring in somebody else for help, but they haven't. Does that mean that they're expecting him to play in 3 weeks? Andy's been, kind of quiet about it, but said that it didn't look like at this point surgery is necessary. Now, who knows? Maybe that can change next week, and you do have to have surgery. Who knows when other opinions, are thrown in there with injuries, and I don't like to speculate, on that type of stuff with guys as far as their health is concerned. But he's definitely probably missing this week against the Eagles. But is there a chance that we see him here relatively soon? I think so, or else he'd be thrown on the IR already.
Jay, in credit to our guy Tim for looking this up, the last time the Chiefs were a home underdog, that was the Bills game in 2022. I don't remember. They all blend together. I can't tell you which one off the top of my head. I don't think it was the Von Miller one, but I digress. Your home underdogs against the Eagles this week. Jay, how's that going over?
It's, here's the thing. Mahomes always kind of thrives in these type of situations when he is the underdog. The Chiefs love that chip on their shoulder. And, yeah, I mean, you can understand it. Here's the Eagles. They're the Super Bowl champion. I still think they're the best team. They are the team to beat in the NFC. They have Jalen Carter coming back after the NFL basically used that game he missed as a suspension. So he's back. And then you got Worthy out of this game. You got Jalen Royals out of this game. You got Rasheed Rice out of this game. Like, I understand it. Like, the Chiefs are really down in weapons. They are the Super Bowl champion. So I get it. I think most people kind of understand the spread is the way it is because, if Rice was playing, if Worthy was playing, and Jalen Royals was playing, and, everything was in life was good, they'd probably take offense to being the underdog. But because all those guys are out, I mean, it's hard to say they're wrong because, they are the Super Bowl champion Eagles.
Jalen Carter is going to play in this game for Philadelphia. Jay, you're buying that explanation. It's almost like the college targeting rule. Like if it happens in the second half, you're going to miss the first half in the next game or whatever. Yeah. Like, okay, you don't get suspended because this happened early on. What, you mean to tell me that he would have been suspended had it happened 15 minutes later? It just seems very subjective to me.
It does, and that whole crowd out there that's the Chiefs get all the breaks. They've really quieted down on this. No, seriously, they have, because in Kansas City they're saying, okay, well, Rasheed Rice was hurt all last year, so his suspension should count for those games. You know, he was hurt all year, so hey, just use Rasheed Rice's suspension last year because he already served it. He was out. He had to miss the games. And I get it. Those are completely two different examples. I'm just saying that's kind of the common sentiment that a lot of people are putting out there. It's kind of half and half. Half understand, you know, as far as Jalen Carter in the suspension, because he basically already served it. I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. He might as well play against the best, to be honest with you. I'm okay with it. I remember when he was drafted and what a joke that was that he went all the way to 9th in the draft. This was a guy that was being talked about as the first player taken in the NFL draft, but all the character things that came up and he slid down, unfortunately, to the Eagles in the 9th spot with Howie Roseman. But, yeah, so it's about half and half, because half are like, hey, being cynical, being, all right, we'll go ahead and suspend Rice from last year and let him play this year. I get that, but they are two different instances, and that was a situation where the law hadn't, you know, ran its course and things like that. With Jalen Carter, it was pretty simple. We saw what he did. He owned what he did, and he was kicked out and didn't play actually any snaps in that game, so I get it.
Jay, you must admit, though, that the Chiefs last year had a little bit of a horseshoe up their butt. Honestly, like the Raiders throwing up over themselves, the Chargers missing a kick, the Broncos not knowing how to block a kick.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot of things that went your way, and those things, you know, sometimes tend to balance out over time.
No, they do. And it's a lot like how Buffalo won the game, right? I mean, a lot of similarities between the Buffalo Bills, the way they beat the Ravens, and the Chiefs last year. But here's the thing, too. And you always have to remember this. When teams are playing certain teams, they kind of choke up. They do. Oh, my God, we got a chance to beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead Stadium. We got this right chance right in front of us. And then they do that, and then they make the mental errors. And then the Raiders make the error and throw up all over themselves like they're. Then the Broncos get a kick block because the Chiefs have been watching film and realized they couldn't make that block. And this is how they were going to do it. And they planned for that situation. The Chiefs are always thinking. It's like, remember that fire drill they ran for the field goal at the end of the half?
Yeah, that's a sign of a well-coached team, Jay.
I mean, they ran out there 9 seconds. Noah Gray, the backup tight end, knew the situation. He ran right on the field. Butker comes out there, nails a 59-yarder, which is not easy, nails a 59-yarder, and they were prepared for it. Like, they get prepared for it. As bad as the Chiefs played, like as bad as they played, there was that 3rd and 14 where Jones and Tranquil were arguing with each other, and that's never a good sign. But as bad as they played, they still had a chance to win that game. As bad as they played, had they gotten the ball back to Mahomes, who knows what happens. But then you get the Chargers tweeting out, this is a monumental win and all this. Come on, man, this is week one. Week one. You still got to play at Arrowhead Stadium. You know, let's calm down on the parades. Just like Baltimore won the throw parade a couple years ago when they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, where Lamar now stands 1-5 against Patrick Mahomes in his career. Just settle down. The rings will do the talking. You can't talk during the regular season. Win a ring, then talk.
Well, I mean, the Bills always take care of the Chiefs in the regular season. It hasn't been that way in the postseason. Jay, as I look back, and I'll give you my answer after you give me your answer, but I thought you made an interesting point. They're talking about how, you know, teams, when it's almost like Tiger Woods. Oh, my gosh, it's the Chiefs. We're going to make mental mistakes at the end.
It's exactly like that.
I don't know if that was the case necessarily. Now, when you look back as to the reasons why the Chiefs were able to hang on against the Bills, why, in your opinion, did the Bills not get that done last year?
Well, a lot of it was the film study on Josh Allen, quarterback sneaks, which direction is he going to go. I don't know. I think Buffalo actually played a pretty decent game. And Josh Allen has never been the problem. As a matter of fact, he's been really good every time the Chiefs have played him. Got a lot of respect for him as a quarterback. But they'll see little things on film. It's just like the Broncos game. They knew exactly what area to attack. They knew where the weaknesses were on that offensive line and field goal protection, and they attacked it there at the end of the game. But I do think there is some of that where teams would get to the end of the game and they make those mental mistakes. We saw for years where the Raiders would have good teams and they'd find a way to lose at the end of a game. Well, there's something to be said for a team that actually wins those games at the end. Now, would fans in this town want the Chiefs to jump out to a 10-point lead or 17-point lead? Yeah, because that would be an anomaly because they haven't done that. They typically spot teams 10 points. They chase them all game until the very end and find a way to put Mahomes on the field and win the game. That's what they've been doing. But until they're fully healthy, they're not going to be able to do that.
Jay Binkley, 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City. I don't know, nemesis would be a strong word. I don't, whatever the word you want to use here, Jay. You've told us to call you your daddy station, whatever, over the time. And the Bills still haven't gotten it done, but we love having you on to talk a little bit of football. Jay, humor us. What does the world look like in Kansas City if the Chiefs start 0-2 this season?
Bad, my friend. I mean, real bad. I mean, what, the 23 teams have actually come back from 0-2. When you get to 0-3, it's very thin. It's like 6 teams have been able to come back and make the postseason. So, yeah, you start 0-2, and all of a sudden Game 3 becomes must-win. Like, you've got to win it. Now, you do have to have faith in this team when they get healthy and get people back that can kind of turn things around, but you do not want to dig yourself in that kind of a hole. And I know they've been looking forward to Philadelphia. They've been looking forward to playing the Eagles. They weren't happy, obviously, what happened in the Super Bowl. So they've been circling this game as a game they want to beat. Fox is sending the broadcast crew to do a live pregame show, in Kansas City, and they'll all be here. They make it a big deal this game, and then the suspensions and the injuries have hurt the Chiefs, but they're not going to use excuses, and that's one thing I like. They won't use excuses. Like, they're not using that. So from Andy to Patrick to any of them, they're not say, Chargers played a better game. They were the better team. Let's move on. It's Philadelphia, in that. But, yeah, 0-2, it couldn't be probably a worse game to play the second game of the season, playing the Eagles, the Super Bowl champions. Not fortunate to be in Brazil. Like, they had a 12-hour flight to Brazil, come back, play Philadelphia, had an extra night of rest because they played on Thursday night, sleeping in their own beds where the Chiefs are traveling from Brazil. Probably not great timing by the National Football League, who once again used the Chiefs for a streaming game like they did on Peacock, like they did Netflix, like they did Amazon Prime. They've used the Chiefs in all these streaming-type games. But, yeah, I mean, you fly back from Brazil and you got to sit there and play the Philadelphia Eagles. It's not great. They won't make excuses, but, it is what it is. That's kind of why it was twofold. People pushing for the Rashee Rice suspension now or later on in the year. I mean, I was more for letting the arbitrator hear the case September 30th. The arbitrator was Sue Robinson that was working for the NFL that was looking at the Rashee Rice case. The only other case she looked at was Deshaun Watson. She gave him 6 games. Like, she gave Deshaun Watson, for all that stuff, only 6 games. The NFL said no. And so they appealed it, and that's why Deshaun got 11 games. Well, she was going to be the arbitrator looking at Rashee Rice. And listen, they might have been able to get it down to 4 games, or hell, it could have been even 10 games. I mean, who knows if she's going to be more strict this time around. But, it might have been back to 4. But I wanted it to go to the 30th at least, and then he obviously would have missed that Bills game. But at least you would have Jalen Royals back in the equation. He didn't want to start with a bad start. Ask the Bengals how bad it is starting off bad in the season. And, that's another team I can't explain, Gene, because they had 7 yards of total offense and still beat the Browns. Figure that one out.
I know. Our guy Timmy here is a big Browns fan. Like, he throws his hands up in the air. It's a Syracuse kicker, by the way, missing an extra point and a field goal there. And
we're all pulling for him, man.
Yeah, that's it. Jay Binkley, 96.5, The Fan in Kansas City. Jay, we haven't talked on the show here since I went out and met you, and we took in Mets Royals, and I got to get the flavor of Kansas City. I'll just say, like, that was a great time, and the folks in Kansas City, very hospitable. It was a fun weekend, and you are a good friend. We will. The idea, though, that the Chiefs right now are still kind of, sort of up for bid. It would just feel wrong to me, like if they ended up in the state of Kansas. Is that still kind of on the table right now?
It is. Everything's on the table with the Chiefs and the Royals, the two states kind of fighting it out and trying to give them the sweeter deal. But, yeah, it's all these new stadiums, man. Everybody's getting them. I mean, Denver announced yesterday they're going to build one without any kind of taxpayer. The owners are paying for it. Of course, that's Walmart money going back there, but they're paying for this stadium, retractable roof in Denver, and all these teams are getting stadiums, and all of a sudden, and now Chicago is looking to move to Arlington Park, and Soldier Field was the oldest stadium in the NFL. Number 2 was Lambeau. Number 3 was Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And number 4 was Buffalo. Well, Buffalo's getting a new stadium, so Kansas City and Green Bay, and I don't see them doing anything with Lambeau. So, yeah, I mean, reality is the second oldest stadium in the National Football League once Chicago decides to move. If not, they're still third in the National Football League as oldest stadiums. But, yeah, Kansas is making a hard push for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I look at it's not just the stadium, it's the development around the stadium. And the thing we don't talk enough about here is, all right, the Bills are getting their new stadium, but everything got rezoned. And once the Bills stadium they're currently playing in, it gets torn down. By the time the Bills get the NFL draft in the year, 2030 or something like that, it's going to look like a little mini village there between hotels and restaurants and everything else.
Oh, it will.
That's the thing. Like, I'm the thing that you're watching games on TV until you actually go and get the feel in person. That whole complex in KC, nice. Jay, there's nothing to do around there. Unless you want to go to the Taco Bell across the street, which, thankfully you were like, no, there's better options than that. If I'm the Chiefs and I'm going to stay at Arrowhead, where do the Royals kind of come into this? Because if they go downtown, then you got to take that stadium down. Maybe the Chiefs can ask for that land there. I don't know, but tell me, where did we leave off with the Royals and everything?
I think they're in the same boat. I mean, they were on the same ballot initiative as the Royals and the Chiefs. And a lot of people think had they been separate, the Chiefs would have passed it, and the Royals, wouldn't have. But they were together, and now they're separate again. So now it's going to be separate initiatives between the Royals and Chiefs. I mean, the Royals are, getting hard pressed for downtown. They're getting hard pressed for the Kansas City Northland, and of course Kansas still sitting right out there too. So we'll find out soon. I think everybody's just kind of in limbo. The only thing is, Gene, that part that I showed you out there where the stadiums are, and you mentioned there was a Taco Bell and like a Denny's, right? That's it.
That's
and
it.
The Denny's burned down. It's on two of the major interstates across the state. We have development all over the city. I know the Chiefs ownership is enamored with these new stadiums and ballpark villages and what's going on at SoFi in Los Angeles and, all these restaurants and shops. And they can't get anything developed. They even said we can't get anything developed. It's been here for years and nothing comes out here. Now, if the Chiefs do stay and they do renovate Arrowhead, which is still a possibility, the Royals they've said they're moving. So the Royals have said 2030 they're gone. So the Chiefs have not said that yet. They could renovate. We'll see. But when the Royals leave, if the Chiefs decide to stay, that'd become a parking lot.
So
Kauffman Stadium would be completely down. It'd just be Chiefs out there. Because Chiefs are never worried about going downtown or any of that because they understand the parking and the people want to tailgate and football is just a different sport than baseball. So they want that vast land because it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, the thing too about Kauffman Stadium, Jay, it's a really nice park. You go in there, it's accessible, and it's great sight lines. I'm sure it's not the moneymaker that the owners want. That's really all it comes down to. That didn't feel dated to me whatsoever. Is that kind of the consensus there? Are people ready for something new?
I think new. And the funny thing was when it first came out, they were like, well, they got a bad batch of concrete. The Chiefs didn't. And, you go underneath that stadium. It's one of the oldest in Major League Baseball, believe it or not. Because like I said, with football, it's one of the oldest in Major League Baseball. It's hard to believe, but it was kind of on the cutting edge because when Arrowhead and Kauffman went up, there was a lot of the Three Rivers and Riverfront stadiums and Oko Coliseum where, football and baseball would play in the same stadium. So the Chiefs and Royals were like, hey, it's different stadiums, same complex, different stadiums, and we'll go from there. And that's what a lot of teams started doing and cities started doing that have Major League Baseball and football started doing that. But it's been a weird deal, man. And then, of course, with Denver coming out and doing 100% ownership, paying for it with no taxpayer liability at all, people see that and they're like, hey, what's going on out here?
I wonder about that, Jay, because that looks really good from the constituent standpoint. What do they give in return? I'm always curious. Okay, did they give land around there? Are they getting to develop? What's on the back end of that? I want more. I want more info because the NFL owners, they can't be like, whoa. We can't get a stadium deal done. They're like, no. We're not going to accept this. There has to be. You don't want to be the guy that we're going to do this our own. No. You got to help your other partners who need public funds for their stadiums.
Well, it's Walmart money. And listen, there's a difference between rich and wealthy. Yeah. And there's an ownership gap as well when you're talking about, Walton money and Walmart money. Yeah, as rich as you think other owners in the NFL are, which a lot of them are, let's face it, they are very rich. But still, though, there's a difference between the ultra-rich and just that group. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like Travis Kelce's a rich man. He's nowhere close to Taylor Swift. You know what I'm saying? Like she's wealthy, he's rich. Big difference.
Jay, I'm grateful that you took my call. That after I yelled at some Royal fans in that Met Royal game, I got a little out of control.
You know what, though? They were nice to you. I mean, they even got their picture with you when you came in the stadium asking where you're from. We go out to dinner, having barbecue, and Joe, the nice man out there, was bringing you
He was
different stuff,
fantastic.
like beans, and said, you got to try this. They took care of the bill. I mean, man, they hooked you up in this town, man. They gave you the red carpet.
You set up the red carpet. It was fantastic. And
they liked you, Gene.
Yeah, and I got to see the Mets win twice there. Jay.
Yes, you did.
Jay,
Yes, you did.
tell our audience where they can call and talk Buffalo Bills football with you on 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, and just kind of infiltrate there. By the way, Jay, that was not a radio bit. I did leave a posted note somewhere in the Chiefs Radio Network studios that said Bills Mafia was here. That is a legit thing, and if this continues, you might want to tear that studio upside down trying to find it.
Hey, can you believe this? Can you believe Soto's a 30-30 guy? He's got 2 home runs from 30-40 guy.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, isn't that crazy? He's 30-30. You see that last night? Like, man, Soto's 30-30. That's insane.
It's baseball is a sport where you fail 70% of the time. We focus on that, and he's having a great year. But because he got paid all that money, and because he dissed the Yankees, that was Jay. I'm keeping it too long here, but that was one of the funny things. Like, hey, here's the Mets lineup: Francisco Lindor, silence. Here's Jeff McNeil, silence. Juan Soto, boo! I'm like, why are they booing Soto? Oh, he's a Yankee. Like, he's not a Yankee anymore. He ain't the Yankees
he's
that
not.
much.
Gene, sports rivalries are great. That's one of the great things about sports. People remember. They remember where you play. There's no love lost between the Royals and the Yankees through the years. I mean, 70s and 80s is dominated with the Royals and the Yankees. Those two teams hate each other. So yeah, there's going to be some rivalry there. But that's sports, man. That's what I love about it.
Well, Jay, I want to make this offer to you because you were so hospitable. But if you come out to Rochester, because we do these events, like we're going to be this Friday, for example, at Finger Lakes Gaming Racetrack. Too soon, obviously on Friday. We plan this out months in advance. But I would think that over the years, people might want to meet you. So, like, we've got to get you out to Rochester here at some point, Jay.
I'd love to, man. I mean, anytime there's one of these shows, House Hunters or whatever, and Lakefront Living or whatever, and they're showing Rochester, I'm always tuned into that. I'm like, man, this place looks awesome. And then, of course, the PGA Tour when they're out there and everything. But I'd love to get out there. I mean, I've been to the Falls a long, long, long time ago. I'd like to go back. There's places in Buffalo I'd like to see as well as Rochester. And you guys have phenomenal beer. But I have none but love for that area, man.
Yeah, that's look, our beer scene's very, very spot on.
It's awesome.
Jay, let's do this again. Be well. Tell everybody, where they can follow you.
96.5 The Fan. If you're trying to keep it real, and keep things in perspective. But 96.5 The Fan, we're sister stations there with Gene and Mike, the same Odyssey group. So come on.
Thank you so much, Jay. Appreciate it. And let's go Buffalo. What do you say?
Hey, I still think it's Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. Now, Cincinnati and Houston want to be in that group, or Pittsburgh, we shall see.
Jay, we'll find out. Let's catch up in a few weeks here, bud.
All right, my friend. Take care.
Thanks. Jay Binkley from 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City.
As good as it gets.
I'm being dead serious about that. If he came out to one of our events, like, you'd realize, oh my gosh, this is just a guy who loves his teams and that's passionate about it. And when you're the champs, like Kansas City is, there's a difference between, like, say somebody like that in Kansas City that, hey, what have they won? Nothing. Like, it's for, okay, there was a Royals championship in 2015 compared to Boston. Like, right. We all have the Patriot fan that up until recently was insufferable.
They won everything forever.
They won everything. Oh, good. The Celtics won again. Yay. Like,
Bruins got one.
Yeah. But you know what? They're still our friends.
Yeah, when you win a bunch, you're allowed to lay it on thick, and he does a great job of it.
Because Jay is such a good lead-in. This is the time, Tim. Let's do this.
Oh, we're giving stuff away.
Yeah. Caller 5 right now. at 585-866-4FAN, 866-4326. Caller 5 will win a pair of tickets to see Adam Sandler on September 21st at KeyBank Center. This courtesy of Live Nation. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. You can go to Ticketmaster.com or you can try to win them right now. Caller 5 at 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Good luck from the Fan Rochester. For the 16th time in his career, Josh Allen was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. This for his efforts in the win over Baltimore. News from practice today, Tre'Davious White back at work. He was limited. First time he's been on the field since August the 21st. Sean McDermott overall not going lightly on the team this week.
Our minds have to be squarely on improving as a football team this week. And when I said it needs to be hard, when you try and prepare to, in the light of being an elite performer, then that elite preparation is hard in order to get yourself where you need to go as we move forward here.
Bills favored by 6.5 this week against the Jets. The Red Wings playing as the Coco Locos tonight. They'll take on the Buffalo Bisons. In Sacramento right now, the Red Sox are up 3-2 against the A's. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. Happy hour in there in the sports bar on this Wednesday, and if every month could be like September here in Rochester, just savor this, savor October. We know what's around the corner. Just beautiful. If you're driving home, thanks for making us part of your day. We know you've got lots and lots of options. We don't take it lightly. We love this city. We love our sports in our city. And normally we don't congratulate the winner here, but hey, we've got Adam Sandler tickets tomorrow to give away and Friday as well. So congratulations to Tom in Pittsford for being caller number 5. And as we were going through commercial break, the calls came in right away. And then it was just only like a second ago, like people were still calling in. And I realized this is where we are here in 2025 as a sports viewer. I love the fact that, hey, streaming, you have different platforms, but it's the latency. So if you're listening on the app, if you want to win the Adam Sandler tickets and you're in Rochester, you're almost better off listening.
You got to guess.
Yeah, you got to guess. I'm not, because I guarantee, Tim, because then there's some people who will be listening on the rewind. They start the show on demand, which that's awesome. We didn't have that. If you want to listen in the beginning, and all right, you could just go back to 3 o'clock and you could put it on, and people, podcast. Yeah, do 15 hours a week. All right? Like, that's like, this is still the art, okay? The point being, Tim, I get wound up sometimes, right?
I like it.
The point being that if somebody's listening like that, hey, I'm going to call him right now and you forget. I'm just like, I feel really bad because the phone's going to ring here and I'm not going to, no, sorry, like we gave those away. So we'll give away a couple more tomorrow.
That's the one thing about like the gambling apps and stuff. Like if you're scrolling through, you've got a bet pending, that updates automatically. And then you see it on your screen, it's a minute behind because you're streaming through the web or DirecTV or whatever it may be. That's the 2025 sports viewing is way different than 1995 sports viewing.
Well, you could even be watching on network, let's say. Good old-fashioned network TV. You could have the
rabbit ears,
whatever the hookup is these days, right? The 13-second game,
mm-hmm.
I knew what was happening beforehand because we are on, they say 7. It ends up being more like 10, somewhere around there. And because tweets go out so rapidly, like, oh my gosh, David scored again. And then like Kelsey scores the winner. I didn't even watch. I knew it was coming,
right.
And I just walked out of the room.
Crazy world we live in.
Yeah, love it. Wait a second. I still have listed as Mike. For everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch, yes, I am the controls. I hit the little buttons there. Yes, like magic. It now says Tim Schneider.
That's me.
That's you.
I finally earned a name.
Terrible take, Timmy, who today, not really a terrible take, trying to justify your Taron Johnson. That's the one thing I didn't mention in the update. Taron Johnson not practicing today. He's got a calf injury. Again, it's Wednesday. Wednesday practice reports are just kind of filler, in my opinion. You're not going to get really a picture of who's playing and who's not here. I'd be surprised, actually, Tre'Davious White actually came back this week after being out for how long?
When you're in a spot like this and you've got to have the next man up mentality, it's nice to have a guy that's a veteran who's got the ability to just kind of slot right in.
we always talk about like the good old days, how things were always better when it was growing up. Is it ever going to be better than what we're experiencing right now? Josh Allen, the best player in the NFL today. Well, that's subjective, Gene. He's the MVP. He's the player of the week. In this snapshot I'm taking for you right here, he's the best player. This Bills team without Josh Allen, 6-11.
I was going to say 6 wins,
6-7 wins
is a solid season.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that. But his leadership, the way he has grown, the idea that he can manipulate a defense, look off safeties, diagnose things. And these receivers are going to get better, Tim. I've read that some people said, oh, Josh Palmer had a great game. I'm like, not so sure. There was one play that Palmer didn't cut off the route and was lucky he wasn't intercepted, and Allen would have gotten the blame for them. I'm like, no, that was on Palmer. But when it mattered most, Palmer ran the right route, and Allen delivered the perfect ball. And then you had Keon Coleman. Coleman's interesting to me. Coleman is the guy, and we're lucky enough now to have Damon Amendola, who for years was on the Infinity Sports Network. He's doing now this podcast. It's on the Buffalo Bills. Every post game, he's going to be giving his thoughts on the Buffalo Bills. You can get it on YouTube. And he had a producer. We talked to the guy from Hard Knocks here. It was from Rochester, but he had another producer on that had this little nugget that the Bills did not want Keon Coleman featured whatsoever in Hard Knocks.
Surprised by that.
I'm not, and here's why. Because Coleman was put on notice last year that this has to be better. For Sean McDermott in a season-ending press conference to mention a player by name, he also mentioned Kincaid too, like, okay, these are the two guys that we invested in terms of draft capital. They need to step up. They're not going to be playing with a better quarterback in this league. If you don't get it done here, you're not getting paid, basically, right? So that's another way they could explain it to him. But the whole time, Keon Coleman really not making him available. I kind of dig that, Tim. Like, he hadn't earned anything last year.
Sure. He's an entertaining person, as we learned right from the introductory press conference, but he's here to work. And if that's what he has to do is focus on performing the job at hand, the immediate dividends week 1, I mean, that's a huge upgrade from what we got out of him a season ago. If that is the expectation moving forward for the next 16 weeks, that's a Pro Bowl caliber season.
That when I weigh what could it, now we're starting to wade into the Jets pool, and the Jets aren't embarrassing. Moral victory on Sunday for the Jets. You didn't embarrass yourselves, but Aaron Rodgers got you. News out of New York today: they cut Gibson, the punt returner, fumbled the ball. As KM to AM, our friend from WFAN in New York, Keith McPherson pointed out, like, again, it could be taken completely out of context. I understand, but you have to have the self-awareness of if this loss for your team is directly tied to a mistake that you made, that was the turning point, is fumble. You can't be doing that. That should be bare minimum today. Don't fumble. But then to like have a smile on his face greeting whoever after the game, no, you gotta take that to heart. And for Glenn, the new head coach, making an example of him today, Tim, I kind of dig that. I don't want to see anybody lose a job, but if you're the Jets and you're trying to establish a culture, then, hey, mistakes like this that cost us games, it might cost you too here.
Sure, you have to be held accountable. If you have an expectation to perform and you don't perform, then get out of the way. Somebody else is ready to take your spot. And to maybe not gleefully, but if you're just okay or satisfied with performing poorly, that to me is the only evidence I need. Get out of here. You're gone.
The Jets played 50% of the time in man-to-man defense, and Aaron Rodgers seemingly had his way. He was able to identify the matchup. Rodgers looked like 2019 Rodgers. I'm not taking anything away from Aaron Rodgers. The point is, though, was that more about the Rodgers or more about being a bad Jets defense. When I look at how this game could play out, and I understand that last year was really close, and I understand that 2 years ago, the Bills actually lost. But think about this, Tim. They lost because Josh Allen and the Bills turned it over 4 times, and they gave up a punt return at the end of the game in overtime. That was, talk about gross, disgusting losses. That was right at the top there, and that's not that long ago. So hopefully that is fresh in everybody's mind. I really dig the tone that Sean McDermott kind of set today in the press conference, talking about this was going to be a hard week, work week here for this Buffalo Bills team. Saying it in so many words that was not acceptable, basically, what you saw for the majority of that game. That defense, and it wasn't just the safeties. The linebackers weren't good. Joey Bosa had some mistakes. There was lots of blame to go around. Safety's taking the brunt of it for good reason. This isn't Lamar Jackson. This isn't Derrick Henry. But, hey, Breece Hall's pretty good. Garrett Wilson's pretty good. All right, the Jets get rolling. That could be a raucous crowd there coming up Sunday.
There's some weapons that the Jets have offensively that the Bills are going to have to button up. And they've got Josh Allen. I mean, that's the secret weapon.
Yeah.
You have Josh Allen. You have a chance, a probability almost, to win every single week. But if the defense falters just a little bit too much, that changes things. Like, Josh Allen can only do so much, and he's the MVP for a reason. But how many times do you have to rely on him to bail you out? If you're allowing 40 points a game, obviously, again, the Ravens are not the Jets are not the Ravens. But you can't have that going in every week being like, oh, this is going to be another shootout.
No, I thought the way Brady called the game at the beginning, and it was like, I can't believe, what are they doing running on 2nd and 1? What are they doing running on 3rd and 1? Just my theory on this, and I mentioned that game from 2 years ago where Josh Allen was just way too amped up. National television, trying to show the world after a gross loss to the Bengals the previous offseason, and he was trying to do too much. Remember, he's trying to leap over defender. That was really the last time we saw dumb Josh Allen.
Hero ball.
Yeah, hero ball. We don't see that anymore. But week 1, you need to be kind of reminded of that. And it's okay to, let's just kind of start off here and make sure we're just doing the basics and not putting ourselves in an even deeper hole by turning the ball over, which the Bills did not. Think about that. They still gave up 40 points and nothing off of turnovers or special teams or anything like that.
I really like the end of the quote there from McDermott in the update when, of course, winning every week is the objective, just get by, but that not being okay. If you are elite, you are competing against yourself as well as your opponent every single week. That is the tone that they've set there, and that is refreshing as a sports fan. It's like, yeah, we did win, but we can be so much better. And imagine that.
Yeah, you're being honest with yourselves.
Lucky's
not the right word, but not every team is going to fumble. The Bills could have done everything right at the end and still not won. All Baltimore has to do is convert a darn first down.
One thing goes right for Baltimore, and it's a different result.
Yeah, it's a different result.
And McDermott being able to acknowledge that, sure, they are 1-0. They are the class of the AFC. But look at how much better they can be, and he knows that.
He knows
That's awesome as a Super Bowl contender to realize, 1-0 is great. It's not good enough.
Yeah, that's why when we talked to Matt Perino yesterday, Tim, how long is the leash with Rapp and Bishop? It's very long. The Bills don't have any other options. Even if they were to go out and buy a Dribble Peppers, who, by the way, is in Pittsburgh, something like that, it's going to take a while. You don't bring them in and plug and play. This isn't. You can do that with a kicker.
Right.
C-ball, kickball. Yeah, that's easy. And the punter, and I commend the Bills for saying, oh, the stat. I tweeted this out. There's a punt analytics website, just like 4 mathematicians, and that's all they do. And by far and away, Robins have the worst analytics. And if 4 mathematicians from wherever, MIT or whatever, could figure that out, and they put out all the graphs, well, Bill's recognizing that too. Okay, yeah, punting isn't our thing, but when we do it, we got to be at least somewhat good at it. We're not helping ourselves there. And, the guy they brought in, the Aussie here, all right, we'll see how this kind of goes. Our number is 866-4FAN, 866-4326. We've got shots coming up in the sports bar here as well. We always kind of invite your feedback. We don't have an update on the story, by the way. If you were with us in the top of the show, a little mystery here in the studio today. So we are located, next time you go to a Wings game or in the High Falls, you see our studios. High Falls Studios, right on the corner of Commercial and Mill. Very nice. They rehabbed an old building back in the 2000s here, Tim. And we're 2 floors. First floor is all the all the stations. And if you're right now walking by, we're right by the ramp that leads up to the second entrance. Second floor is your offices. Danger has an office. The management has an office. I get a little cube because I'm the sales guy. I'm not complaining.
It's a nice cube.
It's a nice cube. Okay, it's my place where I can just plug in my laptop, do my thing, and go. Well, quite often, I'm just plugging in my laptop and I'm just doing my thing, going about my day. I'm not paying attention to other things that are going around. And for our morning show people, some people like Tommy Millay leave right at 10 o'clock, and that's fine. Love you, Tommy. Billy Kidd was here somewhere around noon 1. That's when he usually leaves, right? I didn't realize this had happened. So I come down to our studio after working upstairs, and I'm ready to go, and Zach is filling in for Dan DeLorean. And I'm like, that's weird. We got an e-bike here, like right outside their studio. That's kind of cool. Zach, did you ride this in today? No, that's not mine. You didn't hear what happened? No, I
sure didn't.
Didn't hear what happened. Do tell me. Somebody right out in front of our studios, Commercial and Mill, riding an e-bike. And I don't know the particulars, so I don't want to speculate, but that person was hit and had to leave by ambulance. And Billy Kidd was there. What can I do to help? And the person who was being taken away to the hospital, can you hold on to my bike? So
reasonable request.
Yeah, that's the bike that's in there. So again, if you're thinking, oh my gosh, we'll know who that person is because I'll call Billy if you come by to pick it up. But I just don't know if that person's okay or not. What is the conclusion of this story?
Hopefully they're all
it's
right.
And this is and we're all getting I just think hey, as we kind of gravitate to, hey, we're all kind of overweight and we all need to work out. It's not a bad thing to get on a bike every once in a while, even if it is an e-bike. More people are using them. And people still drive like idiots. Not saying that this happened today or not, but we all have that kind of story, right?
Be careful out there. Yeah, yes, for sure.
Yeah,
and
so
unfortunately, I took a scooter into the back of a non-moving vehicle once. That hurt.
Ooh, that's rough.
An embarrassing moment in my adolescence, but I survived.
There, survived. That's it. Tim, we got shots coming up here in the sports bar. You remember how this works, right?
I do, yeah.
So this is where I read the story, give my commentary, and you say, that's absolutely correct. That is just so insightful. And do you want to add anything? We have time for your calls and last call, too. 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Well, I have a second, too. We also want to invite you this Friday to Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack. We're going to be out there for the first time at Remedy Bar. If you've been out there, you just go in, you look to the left, and you'll see all the sports monitors, and Remedy is right there. They're going to have the stage 2 set up because they've got live music coming up. 8 to 11 Friday night. Crush will be there. That's classic rock from the 90s and 2000s. So it'll be your warm-up act there from 3 to 6. So if you are out on the east side or even not, it's a great way to start your weekend. Finger Lakes Gaming and Racetrack with Danger and I. It's coming up 3 to 6 here on Friday. Baseball notes, we've got that. We've got some other things here. Yes, Jordan Hudson somehow wound up in shots 2 because that's her thing, getting into the news. My name is Gene Battaglia. Tim Schneider in for Danger today here on The Fan. Stop me if you've heard this before. Josh Allen named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. This for his efforts in the win over the Ravens. 16th time in his career he's won this award. From practice today, Tre'Davious White is back. First time he's been on the practice field since August the 21st. Head coach Sean McDermott, though, not making any promises.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, we have a lot of confidence in Trey, and Dorian's a young player that did some good things the other day. So I think the best thing we could do right now in terms of our approach is see how Trey is today and take it one day at a time. But we have a lot of confidence in Trey.
Bills defensive back Taron Johnson missing practice today. He's got a quad injury. Buffalo favored by 6.5 over the Jets. Red Wings tonight taking on their alternate identity as the Coco Locos taking on Buffalo. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester. Things we didn't get to here in the sports bar, we call it shots. See the alliteration, the imagery, Tim. This is what you do here in a bar. Sometimes you pick them up, you throw them down.
I'm not very good at shots, but I'll try my best.
I'm not a big shots guy. Like, I'll be out like at trivia night or somebody, like, can I buy a shot? I'm like, no, thank you. That's very nice, but I'm not. Danger's the other hand. He likes himself, whatever you're going to throw at him, but me and hard alcohol, I'm like, not.
I can drink a beer with the best of them.
Yeah.
When it comes to shots, I think it's best I sit it out.
I had forgotten. So the executive producer and I, we celebrated 26 years. That's a long time. Well, over 26 years, you know what you tend to do? Forget things, right? So I forgot we did this. And I don't even know if they do this anymore. At our wedding, through the receiving line, people got a shot at the end. It's an old Italian thing, Tim.
I am unfamiliar with that, so I'm either at the wrong weddings or it no longer is in service.
I'm sure there was like limoncello, things like that. Tennis, Tim, is getting healthier. I like tennis. Get a load of this. U.S. Open between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, the final, drew 3 million viewers on ESPN. That's not bad. 82% year-over-year increase. And last year was Sinner against an American in Taylor Fritz. Now, it's impressive because it's going against the NFL.
Right.
Now, did the delay here help? There was a delay for 30 minutes. Maybe because the NFL put the Jets and Giants in New York both at the same time at 1 o'clock. So maybe after both teams went every year, it's the final of the U.S. Open going head-to-head against the NFL. Head-to-head. I never understood that. It's week one. Why not put that on Labor Day weekend? But they don't do that. They like the way it is. So.
Apparently it works. If those are the numbers they're pulling in, and again, there were some contributing factors perhaps, but I enjoyed the U.S. Open. I didn't watch any of the final, obviously, because it was NFL week one. But if there's 3 million people that did tune in, that's good for tennis.
Yeah, and I've talked to people in town that have gone, and this becomes their thing, and they like going down there. And it's something that if you like going to the PGA Championship, it's like, hey, it's an event, and you get to see and be seen, and it's a global event. That seems like a lot of fun. And I never thought, okay, U.S. Open is something I got to get to. U.S. Open is something I got to get to.
Yeah. I was in New York City for that same bachelor party. It was the week before the U.S. Open, and people were there practicing and warming up and getting ready for it. And even that was a scene to behold because it's right next to Citi Field. You're coming right out of it into that, and a fun experience.
U.S. Open or Wimbledon?
U.S. Open because it's more accessible. Like, it's right there.
Yeah, it's like Wimbledon, they still make you wear white. They still, I mean, my gosh. Like, okay, there's one thing for tradition, but come on.
Yeah.
Some traditions must die.
It doesn't do much for me.
No.
It's a cool event, and it's fun to watch, but it's one of those things that I only watch because it's important.
Yeah, if like I get to the end of the road, I'm like, okay, I didn't make it to Wimbledon. I'm not going to be upset. If it happens, great. If not, okay, no problem. Baseball, channel my inner Danger here. It's football season. No one cares about sales. Not true, Danger. Not true. The Yankees, they lose a game in the AL East standings. what was that, 9 runs?
Yeah,
there?
Fernando Cruz got
Oh, gosh. Entering tonight, the Bombers 3 back at Toronto. Good pitching matchup tonight in the Bronx. Carlos Rodon going up against Detroit's Jack Flaherty. Again, the Yankees sidestepping Skubal for this. So, but you do get Flaherty tonight. Jays are home against Houston. Meanwhile, entering today, Boston's 3 back, but Oakland has just gone ahead in the 6th. They are in the 7th. A's up 4-3 in Sacramento, which, when I think about weird teams and places, you might be too young for this, but when the Titans played for a little bit in Memphis, as the Houston Oilers, that was weird because nobody went, nobody cared. Then they played in Vanderbilt. This is the same thing. The A's in Sacramento, that's
a blip on the radar.
That stadium, like Innovative Field's nicer. How long are we going to be making that mistake, calling the stadium here the wrong name?
I saw the Inklings. I was in Vegas last week. I saw the Inklings of the new stadium right across the street from my hotel view. The old Tropicana.
Is that by the MGM?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's where we stayed at Park MGM.
Okay. Yeah, Tropicana's Gonzo, huh?
Yes, and that's
wow.
The site of the new stadium is the old Trop.
Okay. Boy, secret winner there is MGM,
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you stay at MGM or did you stay at New
Park
York?
MGM?
Park MGM. Okay.
Right next to the T-Mobile Arena. Went to the Aces Lynx game. I am a noted WNBA fan now.
Did it pull you in?
It was something fun to do while I was there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it pulled me in. The Caitlin Clark effect is way different. She wasn't there, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Doing that in Albany a couple years ago was phenomenal. I love that. But WNBA, it's okay.
Well, it's teams. There's no teams. There's no tradition. They're building something new.
There's something there. It's fun to be on the. It's been 30 years, but it's fun to be on the inside of something starting because this is way different than it was even 5 years ago.
We're not there yet. Like as sports, and that's okay. It's okay. Like if I did the WNBA quiz, like what's the Washington team name?
Mystics.
Very good. Okay, the team in Houston.
Comets?
Trick question. They no longer exist, Tim, but they were the Comets.
Yes.
There you go. Try to throw a fastball one on you.
I
think I give you credit.
There's not a lot of S-enders in there. There's the Dream. There's the
Sky. Yeah, the Dream, the Sky.
I think we've done this before. How about that? WNBA during football season.
Let's get back on track here, Tim. Baseball. Former Yankee Anthony Rizzo at the game last night chugging a beer. He's living his best life right now. Rizzo announcing his retirement today. Probably best known for being a part of that Cubs 2016 World Series championship team. He's going to be honored coming up, a ceremony before the game at Wrigley. They're taking on the Rays this Saturday. Rizzo, 14 years in the majors, 828 OPS, 303 career home runs. Very nice career. Baseball writer, not Hall of Fame worthy, though. Does not get my vote.
Agree. Hell of a career. I didn't realize how good of a career he had, but still not Hall of Fame worthy.
It's unusual that every year who are the hot prospects? Who are the hot prospects? And it's not a new thing. San Diego, for whatever reason, they have a penchant for trading away guys, and they traded away Rizzo in a package to the Red Sox. But then the Red Sox bailed on him, but I think that was Epstein knowing, okay, this guy's going to be pretty good. So he got at-bats in San Diego. He got at-bats in Boston. Somewhere along the line there, too, he gets cancer. So that's also part of his story, that he's a cancer survivor. So Anthony Rizzo, congratulations on a great career. Paper tickets, a thing of the past. Now, if you're going to the Wings game, they still use them, okay? But I'm talking like major leagues. Like, I don't think anybody does it anymore, right? Like, we're all used to this. Like, hold up your phone, bloop, you go in, right? But believe it or not, there is a team that's turning back the clock this year. That is the NHL. The Washington Capitals have brought back paper tickets for their upcoming season. They're gone to all season ticket holders, all with various images of Alexander Ovechkin. They're saying this is just a one-year thing. I would just think, boy, that would feel kind of weird now, just carrying around a paper ticket.
Definitely a collector's item. Back when I was a kid, I would hold on to all of my concert and sporting event tickets, and it's a thing of the past. Like now it's like you said, it's on your phone. You flash it, you're in, and somebody questions where your seats are, you just whip out your phone. We're always on our phones anyway.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Remember,
but I missed the paper tickets. Like Amex season tickets, those were fun.
It was funny when the Amex first went over, and because I helped get people their tickets here, and I managing the account for a while. How does this work? How does this work? And then somebody who should know better made a PDF of it. Like, oh my gosh. Now, the Red Wings, they've gone like half of the way. Like, you can't use cash over there. And
Right.
like every pro stadium pretty much has gone that way. But they still use the paper tickets. So that's probably going to be going away. Finally, in an effort to make more money, the Bay of Belichick, Jordan Hudson, tried to acquire trademarks for the following: do your job, Bills version; ignore the noise, Bills version; the Bellustrator, Bills version; no days off, Bills version. Like this is Taylor Swift or something by putting Taylor's version. This didn't get approved.
Good.
Those trademarks. Turns out the Patriots will actually hold those.
That's even better.
That's even better. So some things did get approved, Tim. Chapel Bill, Bills version, the Belichick way, and the all Belichick team.
What a dork, I guess, is all I've got on that.
I've come to
trying too hard.
I've come to the conclusion that the book by Nabokov, which I'd never read, Lolita, this is the modern Lolita. Like what she has done to this guy.
This is I don't know if it's a PR masterclass or a PR nightmare, but everything that she does makes the news, and I can't figure out why.
Well, I can figure out why. Because we're just waiting for the car crash. We're just waiting for the Wickersham report. We're just waiting for the Belichick family member. Somebody who had all this success. And when you have all success, we love to tear them down. And Belichick didn't know when to exit stage right. That was it.
Sign me up for the circus, I guess.
And
if I got to sit through it, I might as well enjoy it.
I'll make this point, too. When Belichick in his final year, and they lose a game 10-3, it's played in Germany or whatever to the Colts, he should have been fired right then and there. But you couldn't do that because he's a legend, and you got to go out. But think of how that would have played out differently, Tim. Follow me on this. He gets fired, and what happens? Well, you got to hire an interim coach. Who's the interim coach?
Son?
Nope. It's Gerard Mayo, the guy who eventually gets the job the following year. And if you gave Gerard Mayo the final 6 weeks of the season, you realize, oh my gosh, this guy can't coach. He's terrible. Like the Patriots went a whole season. They're like, okay, that's enough. And you bring in somebody else, and like the what if game if you're doing in sports is always kind of a fun thing. North Carolina football, they're not even putting a betting line on it this week because it's Richmond.
Jeez.
It's
63 is my random number at it.
Yeah. So, North Carolina, watch. They'll do just enough to be bowl eligible, and everybody say, yay, it's a successful year.
Smacked around by TCU just to beat up on FCS opponents.
Yeah.
Big Bill picking up dubs.
We invite your calls. You have a burning take. You want to just say hello to Tim.
Hello.
Yeah, whatever. Like this, I'm not doing much screening in last call here, all right? But just be advised, we do have the ultimate dump button, okay? 866-4FAN, 866-4326. Last call on the way next year on The Fan, Rochester. if you're going to apologize, that's fine. But somebody's apologizing right now that I don't think has no reason to apologize. Welcome back to the Sports Bar. Gene Battaglia with you. Terrible take, Timmy. And if you disagree with me on this is going to be a terrible take. Lamar Jackson today apologized for shoving the Bills fan who came at him. Now, maybe somebody said that's what you should do. Maybe they're worried about where this story could go. To me, the story's done. It's over with. Lamar didn't do anything wrong. No touch, okay? You see an athlete on the other team, you don't play for the Buffalo Bills or for whatever team. If you're the Yankee fan in the World Series last year, you're not touching Mookie Betts. No touch. That fan has been banned. That fan's an idiot. Did you see him yesterday, Tim?
I did. Yeah, what a clown.
He's a clown.
Do not apologize when you're right is a stance that I hold. Lamar Jackson was in the right. Like, you talk as much smack as you want. Nothing racial, nothing personal. Just talk smack about his football team losing, and we're good. What are we slapping people for?
Yeah, no, when you slap somebody, as long you can boo, you can make a joke, but again, like you're not crossing any lines, you can do that. But when you touch somebody, or as you mentioned, if you say something inappropriate, then you're in trouble.
Fair game, yeah.
You are fair game. And this Bills fan first yesterday, I'm not even going to give this kid's name, he thinks it's a good idea to give an apology with a neck brace on.
Loser.
With a neck brace on, like
Goodbye.
Lamar. Go away. You're embarrassing your family. You're embarrassing Western New York. You're embarrassing other Bills fans.
Yeah, that he's banned for a reason. Good riddance.
Good
See you
riddance.
later.
Yeah, like you belong in the category with that moron who fell out of the stands for sliding down because he was so wasted a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Like there have been a few doozies here. But again, Lamar Jackson apologizing for his role in that.
Not necessary.
Get out of here with that.
Don't apologize
Get
for being
out of here
correct.
with that. Fun show we had here today. We talked to PJ Glasser, who gave us picks. And, all right, he said if the line gets to 7, take the Jets?
I get the sentiment, but no, I don't. I'm all in on the Bills for this one. I think that they win by 2 or 3 scores.
The tone McDermott said today.
Yep.
In his press conference, talking about how this right here is going to be a hard week of work coming up for this team. We're like, okay, good. They're like, we get to later in the season, you can dial it back. No. These guys were not hitting. They were not tackling. One side of the ball clearly outplayed. And the Jets do have enough offensively where if you play like that again, you might find yourself in trouble. You're on the road. It's a divisional opponent. Now, ultimately, I think the Bills would be fine because if old man Rodgers could do that, I think Josh Allen would be just fine. So that was our conversation of 3 o'clock hour. 4 o'clock hour, Binkley. Jay Binkley, 96.5, the fan in Kansas City. I don't want to say he was humbled, but seems like he's coming to grips that this team of his could be 0-2 coming up.
Cautiously optimistic, I think, is what I would go
yeah,
with. He's hopeful, but I think he's aware of the possibility of an absolute nightmare scenario.
They don't have Xavier Worthy. They're not going to have Rice for a while. You're relying on Hollywood Brown, a mid-round pick, and what? What at the wide receiver position?
You've got Kelsey still. Pacheco's all right. When you've got Mahomes, similar to Ellen, when you've got Mahomes, you got a shot, but there are some holes that they are not accustomed to having. And if they start 0-2, if they get embarrassed, if it's a close game against a Super Bowl champion, so be it. But if they get smoked,
This NFL week is fantastic. Do you remember when like Thursday Night Football used to be, hey, it's the Titans and Jaguars or some crap like that? Like Amazon.
The 3rd and 4th place teams in each division.
Amazon's like, no. If we're going to pay for this, we want a quality product. Washington and Green Bay. Yes, sign me up. You get the Bills-Jets then 1 o'clock, which we'll have for you on the fan. And then we get that Kansas City-Philadelphia game on Sunday.
Whole lot of good football coming our way.
Yeah, like it's suddenly like, oh, wait, Mets might get swept by Philadelphia tonight? Oh, well,
I guess Danger was right.
It is football season. It is football season. Tomorrow on the show, we will help optimize your lineups. His Thursday set, Andy Behrens, the deep shot, will be joining us. We'll also talk Bills football, get you the latest on that. If you miss any of today's show, download the free Odyssey app. Go back and listen. We start every day at 3 o'clock. Special thanks today to Zach, filling in for the Dandalorian, who, by the way, 2 weeks vacation ends tomorrow. Dandalorian back at work tomorrow. And thanks to Terrible Take Timmy. You're back tomorrow, too, right?
I will be here as long as you'll have me.
Fantastic. Stick around. The JR Sport Brief is next. Thanks for listening to Rochester Sports Leader, The Fan, Rochester.